indeed.
Love it.
What I've June may be over, but we are here to celebrate the catalog. What's up, everybody? It's time for another thrilling episode of the live stream of the Mike Seibert Radio Podcast. I am your host, and as you've already seen in the title, we're celebrating What I've June 2025, directed by Michael Bay. Our main topic this evening is we will be discussing the return of director Michael Bay to the Transformers franchise and what that means. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What are some of the implications of that? And I thought if I was going to tackle this topic, I certainly couldn't tackle it alone. But then knowing what day it is, it's the day before the 4th of July. And then there's something significant about that date, this being July 3rd, as we've transitioned from What I've June into What I've July, I think is what we're not calling it. But no, I figured if I was going to say anything about the Michael Bay movies, I happen to have the foremost Baypologist already in my sphere of influence. So I thought I would bring on the other half of the two. It's a reunion of sorts of the two Mikes, Too Furious. We are two. We are furious, and we are Mike. He's the. I wrote this down. But I'm too bashful to read it. I'm actually too bashful to read it. The sweaty, filthy teenager to my hot criminal in a training bra. It's the Spark Soul brother, the pizza papa who always gets paid. It's my friend, author Mikel Andrews.
Hello, and I'm retiring from podcasting starting now.
Yes.
No, hi, Mike. How's it going? Gosh, good to be back.
It's great. It's summertime. I mean, and with the summer comes Transformers and comes live action movies. Like, you've based a lot of your personality on celebrating this entire catalog. I mean, criminally, your anniversary coincides with the release of one of these movies. So this is like foundational stuff for you. So like I said, you are the foremost expert and absolutely the first person I thought of to try to untangle some of this stuff with.
Definitely the number one Michael Bay Bayverse apologist out there, serial Baypologist, one might even say.
Yes.
But yeah, it's the, what is it, the 18th anniversary today of the release date of Transformers 2007, which means I've seen the movie at least 18 times.
Sure.
That seems like a low estimate, so probably way more, but yeah, that's exciting.
That's awesome. Well, we had some folks hanging out in the chat, waiting for us to get started. The Whirly Bird, what I've done.
Yes.
That's how it's pronounced, right?
Yeah,
it's like what I've done, what I've done. That's what we're doing here, right? Yes. No.
I can't even. I want to sing it, but I don't have the pipes for that.
I mean, if you do it now, we won't be able to do a podcast.
That's so, right. I'm gonna have to sign the whole thing.
Save it. Leave it to Emily Armstrong. That's and actually on that topic, not because I mean there's so much to get into, and we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. But like, this live stream, this podcast, inviting Mikel Andrews to join me, really just kind of came from a shower thought. Was like I heard the news, saw the news that Michael Bay would be returning to the Transformers franchise. And then I started thinking about it. It's like, well, that kind of makes sense. Linkin Park is back together and making new music. The return was foretold already. It's like, this is just kind of like the culmination of that. But we could discuss that more as we go. More from the chat. Matthew Barbario, we are here. We are waiting.
I love that. That's the best, Matthew. That's what I needed. That's actually why we were a little late. I just was hoping to draw that quote out of you.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We almost intentionally started a minute or two late. whirl. And I think these folks were just hanging out in the chat waiting for us. Let's take back bets on where Mike is. My money is on quote unquote work thing happened, and then I had to fill my water bottle. That is not entirely untrue. However, I have a text message evidence to Mikel Andrews saying, like, I'm just about wrapped up with work. I'm going to be on a minute or two early if you want to jump on. It wasn't me this time.
Right. Well, listen, hey, since we recorded the finale of Two Mikes Too Furious, I literally walked away from that recording, got into a hammock with a pina colada. I've been swinging between the trees the entire time. I rolled out of it to come down here. Every time I'm out, he pulls me back in.
Absolutely. That is true.
It is true.
Really, Matthew.
Really, oh yeah, please read it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to bring up, it is July 3rd, the night before July 4th. That used to be kind of a big thing for the summer blockbuster movies. That used to be like a good night to release movies, big money maker. I don't know if it is anymore. It probably isn't, but that used to be kind of the hot ticket. I mean, Independence Day obviously did it, and a lot of those summer blockbusters. So you don't see that much anymore, though.
Yeah, it's interesting because, that's. I almost feel like that is a whole other conversation also about the trajectory of the summer blockbuster season. And it's fascinating to look at it through that lens because this year is the 50th anniversary of Steven Spielberg's Jaws. And Jaws is often credited as being the first summer blockbuster. Like prior to that, they would put movies out at all kinds of different times a year, and then they would also do like staggered releases, like it'd only go big in like major cities and then eventually trickle out to the rest of the country. So it wasn't quite like a road show, but there would be times where it's like, well, this Jaws movie is out in the big city. When's it coming to my small town? Especially at a time before the multiplex. So, that between Jaws and Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark and Empire Strikes Back and E.T. and all of that other stuff redefined how we go to the movies to where it's something what we've all kind of grown up with. And now still post-COVID, and it still feels weird in 2025 to refer to anything as post-COVID. It just feels like the movie industry still is like in this weird state of flux. We're only a couple years removed from Warner Brothers putting their entire slate day and date also streaming on HBO Max. So, it's like, so now it's like, well, the future is streaming. Well, no, maybe it's theatrical. Maybe it's theatrical and streaming. What do we go to the movies for? Why do we go to the movies? All of these things, I think in a weird kind of way, will end up being part of the topics that we discuss here because, kind of spoiler alert, and I'm already just running off at the mouth because I've just got like all these thoughts that I need to get out there is, the general audience hasn't been consuming Transformers theatrically with the same appetite as it did in 2007. And I think we'll end up discussing some of why that is and maybe how this return of Michael Bay might actually be what Paramount needs to get this film franchise back on its feet. So, but we can unpack that more as we go.
Yeah, I wanted to say we got some good comments here in the chat that I want to echo. First, the one you're showing on the screen.
Yeah.
Obviously true. This is how Mike Seibert has to watch the Bayverse with something stronger in his cup. 100%.
Yes. Most definitely. We've got another what I've done from Whirl, and it didn't work the way that I anticipated because I started the video and I forgot that it takes like 3 seconds for it to be like 3, 2, 1, go, you're live. So it kind of started it's fine. I'm just being nitpicky. But like that was Whirl and I were chatting in Discord about these videos because like I had found one on Instagram and they had found one on YouTube about basically the same thing where it's and they're from two different concerts. Like basically it's a Linkin Park concert and they're they're playing What I've Done, obviously the song that they wrote specifically for Transformers 2007. And in both videos, the one I showed and then the one I didn't, they hold up a placard that says directed by Michael Bay. And in both videos, it is timed so brilliantly and perfectly. So yeah, I should probably drop a link to that the source YouTube video for proper attribution there, because it's not my video. I just found it. But anyway, that's part of what's kind of stuck in my mind and is stricken my imagination about all of this. But anyway, that's a long way to go for a chat that just says all caps What I've Done.
What about this big one from Matthew Barberio? Can you pull it up? This is a good point. As you bring it up, I'll just read it here.
Can you bring up chats on your side?
Nope, I don't have the power. I don't have the technology.
Okay, got it. Let me know which one you want, because I see a couple.
It's a bigger one here. It says, I think this is the first July in a while that I see real hype for the movies. Between Jurassic World, Superman 4, and F4, people are excited to go to theaters. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think I posted a while back on Twitter, like it's my favorite season, like the Jurassic World teaser season, where you have all the product tie-ins, and I just love seeing all the dinosaurs on the Doritos bags and stuff like that. Like, that's
Dr. Pepper and whatnot. Yeah,
for sure. And then we got some talking about the DQ Superman tie-in. I've had that Blizzard. It's very good. Love that you're eating it right now. The sales are working. The marketing's working. That's very good.
Literally right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Is Michael Bay woke yet? We'll unpack that as we go.
Yes.
World,
yes.
I'm provoking discussion with my all caps. I love it. Manifesting. Back to the kind of origins of this conversation. World post in the chat. Mike said, quote unquote, I need you back. One last job.
Yes. He did.
Yeah. It's oh man, it is such good stuff. So
I said, Mike, I'm retired now. My mind doesn't work like that anymore. And he said, it's Michael Bay. And I said, oh God, all right. I flipped the wall over and got all my guns and blasters down. I put on my bullets,
Yeah. All while listening to Linkin Park, so that like when like the doors open post suit up, it like hits the post.
Yes,
and that would be pretty great. So as I said, I know we're going to be digging into a whole bunch of stuff related to this topic. There's going to be a lot of fun in the chat, and if you're hanging out with us on YouTube or Facebook or even Twitch, I'm streaming there. I can stream in 3 different places, so I thought maybe I stream there as well. Shrug, whatever. Anyway, jump in the chat and join us. And even later, further in the program, there will be a little bit of audience participation that you're welcome to hang out in. We're going to try to build a movie. So, but before we uncork all of that stuff, because I think once we get going, things are really going to start hopping. I did want to call to one more chat from Whirl, a little bit of housekeeping here. All caps. Oh, I haven't seen the shirt in action. It turned out so good. So we're here on the live stream video. If you're watching, you could see that I am wearing a t-shirt with an illustration of a cassette tape on it. This is the official t-shirt of CybFest Northwest 2025, which is coming up. Good Lord, like weekend after next. It is almost here, my friends. It's crazy. So this shirt was designed and illustrated by one of our organizers, Ben, and it is in direct connection and homage to our exclusive figure from our friends over at Blue Forge, Condor. It's a bird, it's a cassette, it's a jetpack, it's Condor. So very much cassette themed going on here between like the shirt. What's the
9 days? 9 days.
9 days.
Dark on the Rock. 9 days.
9 times. 9
9 times.
times. So yeah, so CybFest Northwest 2025 is coming up on Saturday, July 12th at the Kent Commons Community Center in lovely Kent, Washington, about 20 miles south of Seattle. We've got a whole day of excitement and shenanigans planned. It's our little Transformers convention, our little big Transformers convention for the fans, by the fans, with a Pacific Northwest twist. The schedule was just published today, so you can learn about the panels. I learned today in real time that Scotty is going to be bringing his Bumblebee car back, speaking of 2007. So you can hang out and meet the Bumblebee car. We also have two incredible guests, the one and only Frank Todaro, the voice of Starscream and Cobra Commander, the HasLab for the G.I. Joe classified series. Snowcat is available now, and Frank is all over that as Cobra Commander. So it's a really fun thing there. So anyway, yeah. So the t-shirt is available on the CybFest TeePublic store. I'm gonna do a screen share just to talk about it just a little bit. And
can I say that I want one? If
sure. Well,
please, I'm looking at Mike. I'm looking at Whirl. I'm looking right in the eye Whirl. Somebody get me one of these shirts.
You could go to the TeePublic store. I've just now posted a link in all of the chats, but basically it's let me see if I can make this a little bigger here. Oh, there we go. Good. Maybe we do. Yeah, that's close enough. That's fine. But basically, like, there's a for the first time ever, we've done a dual sided shirt. In that the cassette design is on the front. The default is the Kelly green. I opted for black just to kind of give the green in the cassette label a little more pop, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out. But basically, like, it has cassette on the front, and on the back of it, the organizers went nuts with brainstorming a full mixtape, and it has it on the back for side A and side B. It doesn't really come across in this screen share that I've done, but I'm going to read a couple of these. A couple.
Okay.
The leadoff track is Blaster Blues by BB King Starscream. So the closing track of side A is Enter Sandstorm by Metallahawk. So you kind of see what you're getting in there, including Swoop There It Is by Slag Team, which would be a favorite of ours, I would imagine. But you kind of get the idea of what we're doing here. These are some terrific song Transformers related puns. So that's really cool.
I saw this and I had a question. Was this like a round table to come up with these? Did one brilliant person come up with these puns? Whose mind of Mencia did this come from?
That's a great question. That's a question for Whirl in the chat. I know that I wasn't in on that particular conversation, which is just fine, because quite frankly, puns are not my first best strength. Let's see what we got here. Rock Lordster was my contribution. Oh, Rock Lordster.
That one stood out for sure. Yeah.
So let's see. Whirl, I'm kind of regretting not getting it in black. It looks sick. I agree. I almost got it in blue because all of my other CybFest ones are in blue, but like I just it just wasn't quite doing it for me this time, because like, you got to do something to get the green to pop, and I think like that blue and that green just didn't quite work. So I'm team black shirt this year, and if I ever find it, I don't know if I'll be able to find it while we're here on the chat, but like for the organizer roundtable panel that concluded CybFest last year, actually, because like, so we our storefront is on TeePublic. So you could go and you could pick whatever shirt you want. It's designed as green, but you can get whatever you want. So for that year's shirt with the RC design, and Michael Andrews, you've seen me rock this a number of times. Mine happens to be blue. All of the organizers got a different color. So we're sitting at the table doing this this roundtable panel, like taking audience attendee questions, and thankfully our friend Apollo got a pic of us on her way out. We look like a Power Ranger squad because like you have like one of each. You have red, black, blue, yellow, and pink. And it's like, awesome. I mean, so we literally had the entire OG Power Ranger squad. So I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is a great shirt. Me and apparently Matthew Barberio are getting one.
Yeah. Well, and again, you don't have to come to the show. I mean, please come to the show. It's awesome. But like, if you just want to rock the colors and just, enjoy that really cool design. Yeah. I mean, again, I posted the link in the chat, and after I publish this as a podcast, I'll make sure there's a link in the show notes as well, so you can check it out. And since I'm Pimpinate Easy, all of our previous designs are also available as well. And
spin, Mike, spin.
What we get?
Big money.
Hey. Up to 35% off. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Not bad.
But yeah, like, so you have the two versions of the cassette design, one that's double-sided, the other one that is the cassette only. You also have our 10th annual design from 2 years ago, and then of course the RC infused design from last year. In the chat, Worrell says it was mostly Ben, but we all contributed the song titles there. So, wow. So yeah, there you go. So that's I don't remember where I left off at. Yeah, probably just talking about CybFest and how cool it is. We do have I was talking about our guests. I talked about Frank, and I got distracted talking about the Snowcat HasLab, which, if I had any interest in G.I. Joe vehicles at that level, I would gladly back, but too big a scale for me. I don't need it. But anyway, so he voiced Cobra Commander in that, but we're also welcoming Jason Conopisos Alvarez, the voice of Shockwave in Transformers 1. He will be coming by and doing autographs and being part of a panel as well. And all of this is thanks to our friends at Swerve's Bar Podcast. Basically, they're friends with Frank, who is friends with Jason, and they're friends with all kinds of cool folks, and they happen to be our friends as well. So through that partnership and influence, we're able to bring in some really cool, fun folks for this year's CybFest. It's the return of the children's play area and the coloring contest. And Michael Andrews, you missed it the other night. We had I did another live stream with the CybFest organization team, as well as some of our incredible dealers. I've already bought some cool toys that I'm excited to show off to you after I get them. But like, we have a coloring contest, and I have it on good authority that the piece for the coloring contest is very animated themed. So I'm excited to see what that is and what that might be. So that's it's going to be really good times. We're doing trivia again, pub style trivia. We've also got Q&A panels with the voice actor talents, and they will also be participating with Swerve's Bar in their homebrewed D&D. They're going to do a demonstration of their homebrewed D&D type of thing. That's what they do partially for their podcast. So that is going to be an absolute blast. Super excited about that. Let me double check, see if I missed anything. Coloring contest, voice actor Q&A, Transformers D&D. Oh, of course, the return of the transforming contest. There is a kids bracket and an adult bracket. Michael Andrews' favorite.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a lot of fun, and I can spill no beans, but I
was going to ask what the toy was.
Well, the the toy for the kids bracket was revealed, and let's just say it's a mold that I am very familiar with.
Ooh, okay.
Like
Okay.
like very familiar. Like I may or may not have 15 of these.
Okay,
So,
gotcha.
but the toy for the adult contest, the adult transforming contest remains a secret. And that will be revealed on the day.
Masterpiece Megatron.
Yeah, exactly. Movie masterpiece Megatron.
Yes,
It's like movie masterpiece Ironhide that we picked up at Ross like 6 years ago or something like that. No 2007 movie figures. You cut your fingies up.
Mhm.
It'd be like, I won the contest, but at what cost? It'd be like me trying to like open up an APDC
I
booty
was
box.
just gonna say, where have I seen that before? I just had a horrible flashback. You going my fingies. I was like,
And I'm just like, hey, I think I'm bleeding over here. I'm like, hey guys, I think I'm bleeding. Meanwhile, the chat is just screaming. It's like,
Oh
go
my
put a
God.
Band-Aid on, you weirdo.
I'll never forget that moment, you reaching in and going, oh, there's something wet in here. Something definitely broke. It's just,
Yeah. It's like, yep, I cut that pretty good, didn't I? Yep.
yeah.
Oh, that's bleeding pretty good now. Silliness.
This isn't wiping away very well. Thud.
Yeah. Well, it's a real UHF situation. Like I don't remember who the actor was, but it basically like the guys like using a bandsaw on Weird Al's variety show and like cuts his finger off. He's like, would you look at this? Would you look at that? It was really one of those. But also excited to talk about well, actually I'm excited to not talk about. There's a Transformers video game panel which I cannot talk about because let me see if I can get the description. This is going to be hosted by Ben. Check out a presentation on the story and concept art of a Transformers video game. Due to the nature of the content, no photography or video of this panel will be allowed. I know what game it is. It is legendary in the fandom, and Ben has access to the story behind the story, and it's something that he has been cooking up for years, literally years, like waiting for like NDAs to lapse and getting proper clearances. There's going to be an exhibition of some concept art that has never been seen before publicly. So that's going to be a big ass deal.
Well, we will just wait patiently. Text it to me.
Yeah. Well, and then the thing that I did not talk about, I have done so many live streams and so many like of these promo bits with doing two mics. I haven't said thing one about the raffles this year, and that's kind of like the culmination of CybFest. Like it is rowdy, it's festive, and it's a lot of people's favorite parts of the show. So anyway, so the raffle is coming back promptly at 3:15 as well. So if you want to learn more about all of this, go to CybFest NW.com. I am going to post a link in all of the chats. So hopefully that's going to work. Let's see. What else? Whirl in the chat. If we put anything on the website, there's a decent chance it gets us a scary phone call. Yes, regarding the top secret panel. Yeah, most definitely, most absolutely. And don't forget to stop by the Blue Forge table while you're there and get yourself a condor. So that is going to be an exciting time. So I knew once we got into the Bay stuff, I wouldn't be able to come back to the CybFest stuff. So thank you for your indulgence, Michael Andrews, and allowing me for the opportunity to talk about our modest fan convention that, as I've said, we are incredibly proud of.
It's the old Bay and switch. You tell me we're going to talk about Michael Bay, and we talk about CybFest Northwest. I get it. Bay and switch.
Bay and switch. Okay, so I guess to start off with, in a moment I will bring up the full article news reporting on what this return actually means. But Michael Andrews, why don't you get us started and talk about, if you may, what I've June and what kind of like set the scene for like why this movie is so important to you and why this summer of Bay is a catalog that you celebrate. And hopefully when you do that, that'll buy me some time to
Yeah,
stuff
for
and find
sure.
some articles.
Well, I think Matthew Barbario would agree. We just kind of get in the mood this time of season to watch the Michael Bay Transformer movies. One of the things I really delighted in, I'm going back to go forward here, but one of the things I really delighted in when we started to get listeners to our show, Two Mikes, Too Furious, some of the younger generation, the early mid-20s crowd, they all really have an appreciation for the Michael Bay movies. That was kind of their childhood introduction to Transformers. I was obviously a little older for that, but still loved them as much. I just think that's so cool. There's like a whole generation that's like jumping on board with this. And it was nice to kind of gang up on you, Mike Seibert. You couldn't make fun of it as easily when we're all the Bay lovers are in there.
Yeah.
But I just get really excited to watch it this time of year. As Mike alluded to, my partner and I's anniversary is tied to the premiere of Dark of the Moon. It's not that was intentional. Like, it's not a coincidence. But
you have a tattoo.
Yeah, no, I don't have a tattoo.
I did.
I can still remember the date. But when I can't, I'm gonna go memento style and get it tattooed on me. But yeah, I just love this time of year. I have so much like fondness for those movies, the time of my life. Yeah, and I'm just really excited to like jump back in, and any chance I get into rewatch it and talk about it and kind of rehash what I love about it, even better. And yeah, with the news coming out, like just everybody's talking about it. My Twitter feed kind of filled up with like Bayverse stuff. I don't know if that was the algorithm just kind of pandering to me, but I love it. I really think it's like the perfect summer blockbuster. Like, it is just everything you want, at least, especially back then. It was just everything you wanted. It was campy, it was fun, big explosions, popcorn movie, and everyone was excited about it. Transformers fans and non-Transformers fans alike. Now, maybe that first night we had some Transformer fans walking out of the theater going, "What the hell did I just see?"
Sure.
But leading up to it, there was so many product tie-ins, and there were like GM car dealerships were giving away like Bumblebee t-shirts if you test drove their cars, and every cereal box and the toy aisle was lined with these crazy looking toys. It's just such a cool time to be alive.
Yeah, in general, and I'm reminded, like, so for folks, every live stream, every podcast is somebody's first experience with us. And Michael Andrews and I were guests on Autopod Decepticast like some 3 years ago. In fact, I for a research project, I actually found it on their website. I should probably do a website at some point, so maybe folks can find my stuff just as easily.
Maybe.
AutoPodDecepticast.com has actually been a pretty good resource for me to find reference material, like in terms of like what happened when, in terms of like our shared cinematic universe. Like I can find more stuff about my content through their website than my own stuff. It's right. Very weird. But anyway, back in February of 2022, Michael Andrews and I were guests on APDC as part of their hiatus cast. Ryan Jett hosted and asked us to talk about Transformers 2007. And it is a 3-part adventure, 90 minutes each. And given how some of the last couple Two Mikes, Too Furious episodes ended up, I'm surprised it was that short. So, but that was a really good time. And I didn't have the opportunity to revisit it for this session. But I remember we talked a lot about like the lead up to it, and got real personal talking about like how we were in our lives at that point in 2007.
Yeah.
Because like this, the thing that, I mean, I've said this in so many different contexts, so many different podcasts, so many different places. Um, I liked the movie. I liked 2007, and we'll definitely revisit that in this conversation. But I think because of my feelings on the sequels, that has unfairly colored my perspective on Transformers 2007. So like I said, I'm getting ahead of myself. But what we talked about was just kind of like where the fandom was, and the thing that I had to get warm to, that it's taken me, I don't know, these last 5 years, maybe a scratch longer, to warm up to the fact of how monumental and influential these live action movies are. You already said it brilliantly, Michael, where it's like it was like a full media blitz. You know, you've got toys, you've got comics, you've got all kinds of tie-ins, all kinds of ancillary medias, and this movie not being just for Transformers fans. It's a action sci-fi adventure movie for general audiences that just happens to use the Transformers IP, which was kind of a nostalgia grab at the time. And, you know, almost 20 years later, 18 years later, nostalgia is still big business. So in a way, it it makes sense, this return of Michael Bay. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to give folks some extra additional homework. If you want to hear us go deep on the movie, what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it, we did not change Ryan Jett's mind. He really enjoyed the conversation, but does not like the movie.
Yeah, we were so close. Like he was like, I'm into it. I think I might find myself liking it." And then all of a sudden, at the last second, after 6 hours, he pivoted back to it. Doesn't care for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Whereas I was kind of in the middle. I think of the three of us, I was the one that was kind of more convinced, and that conversation has stuck with me since. And I have, gone back and judged 2007 more fairly, because of how I felt about the sequels. Like, because I'll say, like, top down, I don't like the live action movies. That's not a true statement. What is a true statement is I don't like the sequels and feel like they're diminishing returns, but that doesn't diminish there's a convergence of magic in Transformers 2007, between the Steven Spielberg executive producing it and bringing some of that touch and flair to it. There's a lot of E.T. in that movie. There's, and the writing team of Alex Kurtzman and Roberto Orsi, RIP, because like they were, this was kind of like the beginning for them as a writing team. Like, after this, you got Star Trek, and prior to that, they get locked in a hotel room to crank out Revenge of the Fallen before a impending writer's strike. But no, anyway, like they were like a hot writing team for like the next decade.
yes.
Like there's there is no live action revival on CBS that doesn't have their name on it. Like, Hawaii 5-0, Magnum PI. It's like they're all part of like they had like a cottage industry springboarded from Transformers 2007. So
I mean, they were the hottest. They were the hottest writing team of the time. We were lucky to get them for Transformers, and I say that because I think they did an excellent job of just like making it something that the whole public could get into. Like, just making it sort of, I don't want to say like generalizing it because that maybe sounds like a negative, but just approachable that everyone wanted to go see it. Car fans, military fans, action movie fans, everyone wanted to see it. Everyone came out of that movie wanting to like talk about how cool it was and felt like they were a little part of Transformers more than they did going into it. So I just credit them with that. That whole team, really. I mean, it's kind of a dream team, and they're all trying to do something. They were trying to do something for the fans, but they were also trying to kind of like get some new blood into the mix. And I think they succeeded big time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with all that preamble out of the way, I do want to call attention to an article from an outlet called Puck. I don't know what Puck is, but this was published on June 26th by a cat named Matthew Baloney, who is some kind of Hollywood insider journalist, entertainment journalist type of person. From what I've been able to figure out, he's a guy who's a guy. So Puck News must just be his website or whatever. But like I've seen this in so many other entertainment blogs, and it's fascinating to revisit what Ground Zero is for, like, the actual origin of a news story, because I saw this like in a tweet being shared before I saw Screen Rant pick it up, before I saw Variety pick it up, before I saw the Transformers fan sites. Like, they were late. Like, there is a sliding doors version of what Mike Seibert does, and I try to scoop the Transformers media because they're all slow. Sabertron is slow and always undercooked. It's just it's entertainment journalism is sad, and fandom journalism is even sadder. But I'll leave it there because I'm not trying to lose friends. But like within this lengthy article, which is basically just kind of like a Thursday roundup of all kinds of stuff, he mentions this passage about Michael Bay, and it says in parentheses, I'm sorry, in italics, Bay misses the bots and the mega bucks. Did you know that Michael Bay is developing a new Transformers movie at Paramount that he wants to direct? ? And I'm reading it this way because I think there has been some misconstruing about what the news actually is. So we continue. Did you know that Michael Bay is developing a new Transformers movie at Paramount that he wants to direct? Bay, and again, I'm reading this as written without commentary. Bay, the auteur of explosions and upskirt shots that defined the first 5 mega grossers, had sworn off directing the franchise since his Shia LaBeouf free Transformers: The Last Night earned just $600 million in 2017. Big, but about half the gross of the previous installment. Parentheses. Paramount also tied to his astronomical fees. Yet the franchise has atrophied without Bay, and he himself has not reached those box office heights since, even complaining recently about not being able to get movies greenlit. So that takes me to another article in the Hollywood Reporter where Michael Bay is still trying to get movies made. He's like trying to make some kind of like TikTok parkour movie or some such like that. I don't know, but like I haven't read that article, but basically like Michael Bay is he feels stuck and he feels frustrated. The last movie I saw of Michael Bay's was a movie called Ambulance. And I don't know if anybody else saw it, but I thought it was
Ratchet. We thought it was about Ratchet. That's
kind of. Well, spoiler alert, that the titular ambulance does get painted a certain shade of neon yellow green towards the end of the movie.
Wow.
Therefore making it right up Michael Andrews' alley. But basically like it's a crime heist movie. And basically the robbers use a ambulance as a getaway vehicle, and it becomes a chase movie. But what makes the movie kind of interesting to me is the reliance of drone photography, and and it's through the Michael Bay lens. So we're like zipping and zooming underneath and over overpasses through Los Angeles, and up and down buildings and stuff. Some crazy weird photography, but also with like a kind of gritty R-rated sensibility similar to Bad Boys and other Michael Bay kind of like actioners of the era. And it kind of reminded me like the movie isn't super great, but I like it. And none of Michael Bay's movies are super great, but there are a lot that I like. And it reminded me, I crossed my arms, I was like, how about this guy makes movies? I wasn't thinking about him making Transformers movies at that point, but just solid action movies, like the Rock or Armageddon or whatever. Criminy, I even kind of like that Pain and Gain, the one with the Rock and Marky Mark.
Oh yeah, that one's all right. Yeah,
it's kind of all right. It's weird as hell, but it's heavily stylized, and that's the thing. It's like, and same thing with Ambulance. It's like Michael Bay is like a high concept, maximalist filmmaker, and if you accept that, then you're gonna have a good time with it. But I digress. So he's in a spot where he's stuck. I'm also taking from this writing that Paramount is also stuck. And so we continue. Bay approached the studio last year to come back as a hands-on producer and possibly director. And he's got writer Jordan Vandina working on a script. It's one of 5 or so Transformers projects in development that David Ellison and Skydance will inherit if and when the Paramount sale closes. Now, here's where things get interesting for Transformers 1 fans, or even Transformers Rise of the Beast fans. Josh Cooley, director of Transformers 1, who I should have just kept reading instead of interjecting. Good Lord. Josh Cooley, who made last year's animated Transformers 1, just closed a deal to pursue a live action take. There is also a possible G.I. Joe Transformers crossover in development, and the studio has 2 separate ideas in early stages. Hopefully, the Bay project will come together. It really is the perfect match of filmmaker and material. And Paramount can take its time. The studio keeps the rights as long as a movie is in production by 2029. And that's it. That's the end of that part of the article. So there's a lot to unpack there. So it sounds like Paramount wants to continue to be in the Transformers business. However, well, and that is part of what my take on this renewed collaboration is, because like I'm going to end up saying some things that will piss off fans and piss off the fandom, because like I don't know how much time you've spent on Twitter, Mikel Andrews, but like Michael Bay has always been divisive in the fandom. Now it's even more divisive. And basically what's happened is now things are getting political. It's like, oh, well, Michael Bay supports Donald Trump, so therefore, if he makes another Transformers movie, it's going to be hella MAGA. Well, I don't know that to be true. I don't know that to be not true. But that's
part of it. Sorry to interrupt. I don't know. Is there any proof of that? I mean, I actually went down quite a rabbit hole one day trying to find his political affiliations and if he supported Donald Trump, and I couldn't find a single thing. In fact, I saw at one point he was tied to a movie that was sort of like kind of a critique of the Trump administration, or kind of like making fun of it a little bit. And I was like, I don't know how a guy that likes him would work on a project like that, but obviously it never came to fruition. So who knows?
Well, I will say this, and it would never be my intention to throw shade or insult anybody directly, but it's been my experience with the fandom discourse on twitter.com especially, is that it's very reductive and unsophisticated and lacking in nuance. I've seen a number of posts critiquing the Michael Bay's depiction of conflicts in the Middle East.
Sure.
It's like, oh, so given the political climate of today, because it's been a while since I've watched Dark of the Moon. I think it's Dark of the Moon, but like basically where like the Autobots attack Iran, and
Oh, sure.
so yeah, you would think that that's kind of a spicy meatball for the times that we're in literally today,
Right.
real bringing it back to Two Mikes Too Furious, capital T, the times TM. So that's where my personal take probably is going to get awfully spicy, and hopefully I don't lose friends over it, but
Sure.
we'll see how it goes. But top down, I think this is a great idea.
Yes.
For a variety of reasons. Oh, and I should have mentioned in my reading of that article as well, Josh Cooley himself, director of Transformers 1, revealed at BotCon that Paramount has contacted him and specifically stated that they are not interested in pursuing a sequel to Transformers 1. So we know Transformers 2 is not happening, or Transformers 1-2.
Gotcha. Right.
So that is off the table. We know that's not going to happen. Let's go to the chat here. Matty B, Matthew Barbero. He made a Super Bowl ad for the Secret Service and met Trump in doing so and was happy to do so. That's the only thing I see, and it's not indicative of support to me.
Yeah, I would say that that's probably more indicative of support for the Secret Service. I think that's just another kind of arm of the military that he really respects. When I was watching in preparation for this, just to kind of get me in the right headspace, I watched the director's commentary from Transformers 2007.
Yeah.
And obviously Michael Bay likes the military, but I think I was kind of overcome by just him talking about like how much respect he has. It's not just like, America and keeping things safe and blowing stuff up. Like he just really respects what they do. And it kind of made me, getting a little like patriotic a little bit when he's talking about it, because it didn't come from a January 6th storm in the Capitol sense of the
right.
He just really had a respect for these guys and what they do. And that was just really cool to hear. So I would think that going along with what Matty B said, just the fact that he was in the presence of the Secret Service probably, had a lot to do with his appreciation of the moment.
Yeah, well, and as I said, with some of my more provocative thoughts about the knee-jerk discourse, and I think it's I think patriotism is looked at differently now than it did in 2007. And
sure.
I think I think I'm not going to put words in anybody's mouth, but I think that patriotism equals MAGA. I think is what some think. And patriotism equals MAGA equals pro-genocide. That kind of thing. And it's just like, and it gets really messy very quickly. And some fans are able to separate better than others. But the thing about my take on what I think this sequel or return could be is basically let me see if I could, maybe start this thought experiment. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to put a pin in that.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I said, Michael Andrews, what do you think of this news that I have read to you? I've just been doing a lot of talking and reading, looking in the ad and kind of being lost in my pontificating.
I'm letting it get wafted in. Yeah.
Yeah. So based on the news report that I read, the original news report saying like there's all these projects, Michael Bay has already a year ago been brought in to the fold. You could say he's never left the fold because every movie from like Bumblebee through Rise of the Beast through Transformers 1, he has a producing credit. I mean, like he's, whether you like it or not, whether fans like it or not, this guy has been a part of this franchise the entire time. Now, he hasn't been writing it or directing it or really guiding it, but like
he's been paying for it.
Exactly. There you go. And taking in some of the financial benefit of that as well. But yeah, so I mean, so I swear I'm gonna stop. But Michael Andrews, what do you make of this news?
Yeah, well, there's two things here. I like the news. I think it's great news. This is something, no surprise. I'd be very excited to see Michael Bay return to Transformers.
Sure.
The article in particular that you read, I think some of the starting with, Michael Bay's washed up and he needs money and Paramount needs money. And this is just a problem being solved and like desperation. We're bringing these people kind of back together. I don't like that take. I don't think that's not what excites me. Maybe it's true, but I don't know. I feel like that was a lot of speculation on the writer's part.
Sure. Well,
I got distracted by the chat. Sorry.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's see. Nick puts up supposedly Bay sabotaged the CGI and Rise of the Beast so he could come back. I don't believe that. I
don't know.
I refuse to believe that. I thought
that CGI was pretty good. So I don't know if it was sabotaged.
Yeah, and until it isn't. And I don't know if this is a time to talk about the other movies because I think it is fair to say that as a live action property, Transformers has been on a slide for 10 years. And the returns have been steadily diminishing.
Yeah.
So starting with last night, which ironically enough was Michael Bay's last movie. And that was kind of that's kind of what put the nail in the franchise's coffin. Too expensive, too overwrought. And you have fandom like myself who turned on it. I didn't go. I still, in the year of our Lord 2025, I have not seen that movie. And I almost watched it for this exercise. But then I'm like, nah, I don't need it for that because my take when we get to it doesn't involve the last night. So I don't even need to have seen it to thought exercise here. But basically,
if I can give you a quick take on last night, my quick take on it. I don't think if there is any fault in that movie, I don't think it's on Michael Bay. I actually think Michael Bay did a really kind of reserved, almost a little more artistic direction than he had in all the other ones. But the writer's room on that was everywhere. They brought in someone new. They brought in a bunch of people. I think the plot was just all over the place. None of the people in the writer's room cared about any of the movies that came before, kind of plot wise. And it was just kind of all over the place. So I actually don't discredit Michael Bay for that one.
Sure. Well, and then from there you have Bumblebee, which was mostly embraced and beloved by fans and fandom, but was not the financial success still that they were looking for. Now, granted, it had a significantly smaller budget than the last night, so it is a step in the right direction, but doesn't get gangbusters. And then Rise of the Beast does worse. And then you get to Transformers 1 and general audiences, you could say it was bad marketing. It was a bad trailer. It was this. It was that. Folks, it doesn't matter. General audiences rejected that movie. And even now, it's still kind of mildly divisive among fans. And even if it isn't divisive among fans, who cares? It was a flop. It was a bomb. It did not click. And I had so much egg on my face because I got the opportunity to see a movie a month before it came out, at a time where 6-0 had seen it like a month before that. So the buzz in the fandom was overwhelmingly positive. So we were expecting a victory lap. And then the movie came out and it's like, how come nobody's going? And
Right.
Competition, Wild Robot came out around the same time. And again, the marketing and all of that other stuff. But all of those factors are excuses. Because if the movie was there and if it clicked with general audiences, it would overcome those. It would leg out, and it didn't. And it did fuck all in the foreign market also. Like,
yeah, 100% that movie on paper is a blockbuster. And the friends that I've shown it to been like, oh my God, this is great. Like it checks all the boxes for not just a great Transformers movie, but just a great movie. But yeah, I don't know, for whatever reason, it just did not connect with the audience at the time. And I guess if we're losing friends here, I'll go to bat and say, I think the problem with the diminishing returns on, Bumblebee and Rise of the Beasts, I want to say, I just want to hold up a sign and say it's because Michael Bay wasn't there. But I have said this before on other shows and other podcasts that he just has an eye for what isn't there. Like, he can just bring the scope and bring the the big summer blockbuster to Transformers, where I don't think the other directors, I think they were good artsy kind of animation directors. I just don't think they had the chops to see it like the big popcorn blockbuster. And I also think there was a little bit of kind of pandering to fans, a little bit of let's just give them exactly what they want. We had too much Bayhem. We only saw Michael Bay is very like the old school film director of like, just show them a little bit, leave them wanting more, kind of the, like the old kind of Psycho and movies like that, just like Alien, just kind of hint at the big treat of the film. Without just showing it. And then I think when it got to like Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast, they were like, let's just show it. Let's just make the 80s cast exactly how we want them to look. Let's show them all there. We're going to put pretty much every Transformer moment from the movie in the trailer before the movie even comes out.
Yeah.
And then you get a bunch of like, G1ers going, yes, you did the thing. Here's my $10. And then no one else wants to see it.
Yes.
Because they don't have that nostalgia for it.
That, and it is a hard pill for all of us to swallow, but while Transformers fandom is a relatively large fandom, I suppose, but certainly not large enough to sustain something that is just for us.
Yeah.
And you have problems with all three of those movies. Like, I really like Bumblebee. Bumblebee is is a really fun as hell coming of age throwbacky type of movie.
Yes.
But it's small, intentionally so. It's character driven, intentionally so. Emphasis on a smaller cast, more expressiveness, more more character development. Rise of the Beast is, it's funny because like I remember being pretty enthusiastic about that movie and then cooling on it immediately. I almost need to go back and rewatch it. I've said that a number of times in various podcasts, and I've never gone back to it because like it just kind of washed over me. It's fine, But like I've lived long enough to where I've seen glimpses of Unicron in live action and I kind of don't care. And
Yeah.
that's sad. And
Yeah.
and Transformers 1, a movie I like quite a lot and I have been back to a number of times. It's a movie like I was talking about on the live stream with Anthony Bricali, TFU.info, recently. It's a movie that doesn't know what it is. It doesn't know what its audience is. It's too advanced for little kids. It's not Pixar does Transformers, like I've said, like I've stuck my neck out and said, because you can't show it to a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Because I mean, spoilers, a dude gets ripped in half. Sure, he's a robot, but still.
Yeah.
There is a certain degree of violence that's in there. I mean, like for example, we just finished talking about Transformers Animated. Like, if a character got ripped in half on camera, we would have a problem with that. I would have a problem with that. I'd be like, whoa, wait a goddamn minute. You can't show that. These robots are either people or they aren't. You know, I've said that way too many times, but no, it's too sophisticated for the intended audience of young kids, but it's also a cartoon. And I'm at risk of repeating myself. I've said in so many other places, it's like I had people at my work saying like they didn't go because it's a cartoon. And then one of my coworkers watched it on a plane. And it's like, holy shit, Mike, that movie is delightful. I'm like, I know, because I told you. But like it was like a revelation. Because like there's nothing there to connect to a adult contemporary audience. And like I feel that. Like I haven't seen anything that Pixar has put out in theaters. Like I'm not going to Elio. It's like there's nothing there for me.
Oh, I want to go see that, but sure, I take your point.
I don't want to get bogged down in that. And also Disney has trained the audience to wait for the plus, because there was a time where like they had theatrical and they're just like, no, we're making stuff specifically for the plus. It took Bob Iger to be like, dude, this Moana 2 that you wanted to do is like a mini series or a movie on the plus. Put it out in fucking theaters. And and they're like, oh, if we put it out in movie theaters, people will go. Stupid nonsense. Anyway,
spicy boy tonight.
Yeah, this has really got me torqued up. Matthew in the chat, the bias against animation by adults always drives me crazy. There's so much amazing content in animation that they're missing. Of course, absolutely. Like even like who was it? Guillermo del Toro said like animation is not a genre. You know, it's like it is just another style of putting out content. But you know, much like Marty McFly playing Johnny B. Good for those kids in 1955, I guess you're not ready for that yet, but you kids are gonna love it, you know. And that's, I mean, unfortunately, that's kind of where we're at with animation. I have way lost the thread. So, but no, Transformers has been diminishing returns theatrically to the point where you have to do something. And I feel someone who is not a Baypologist thinks this is exactly what you do. And if I may, maybe now would be a good time for me to get into what my take on it is. Michael Andrews, do you have anything else preamble before we kind of dig into this a little bit?
No, not really, but I was sort of touched by, I love this idea that you watching Transformers Animated, you know, the thing that made you not get into it, you're like, this is for kids. This is too kiddie. I want adult things, like this is too kiddie. And by the end of it, now that we finished it, you're like, if they would have ripped a person in half on there, I don't want to see it. That is a sacred show for children and everyone alike. That is something you don't want to see in animation. I just thought that was kind of cute.
Yeah.
that we've arrived there, but you're right. I mean, it's such a special thing that at that point, like that sort of violence in Transformers animated would just be really out of place and kind of just ruin the integrity of what it was.
Yeah, well, and not to lose the thread further, but that's what makes Transformers 1 and Transformers the movie of a kind, because both are aggressively misunderstood movies and just missed the assignment. And, while Transformers the movie is incredibly important to me and so many other fans, it failed to do what it was supposed to do. Maybe it sold more toys, I don't know, but the legacy, ironically enough, is how misjudged it was, how misguided it was from jump. Like, Hasbro not understanding, the writers not even understanding, like Flint Dilley has said on my podcast that, like, oh, golly willikers, had we known that people gave a rip about these characters, maybe we wouldn't have dispatched them so violently, that kind of thing, because they didn't know. They were in the business of selling more toys.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure. All right, enough of our curmudgeon-y state takes. Let's get to the meat here.
All right. So up top, my take is Michael Bay comes back to Transformers for live action, and it's a legacy sequel. But a very specific legacy sequel. This is not a sequel to The Last Knight. So it's not Force Awakens. It's not Top Gun Maverick. Well, I guess it could be, but it's Halloween 2018.
Oh.
This would be a legacy sequel to Transformers 2007. And only Transformers 2007.
Whoa.
And you skip all the sequels. Just like what Halloween does. So yeah, just everything from there on. And once I landed on that, I felt weirdly freed. Because I realized that my problems are not with 2007, but they are with the sequels. And further, I feel like the sensibility you go for is kind of like Force Awakens in that you just do the same movie again. But it's however long later. Like this is the nut I can't quite crack. And like, when does it take place? The working title in my mind is Transformers parentheses 2027. You said it 20 years later, real time.
Sure.
Or you wait 10 years because like they said something like, as long as, like Paramount will have the license until like 2029. So as long as they got a movie out before 2029, that's fine. But I don't know if you want to wait until 2037 to make this movie.
No.
Maybe you said it in 2030.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's but maybe that's what you do, because like, here's the other thing. I'm at a certain age where I don't know if 20 years is enough. 30 years, the gap between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, that's probably better. 30, 40 years. Because in 20 years, not as much has changed. So I did a thread on Twitter a while ago. Let me see if I can. I'm going to end up reading my screen in a few different spots because I have a bunch of different things that I've kind of put out there, because like I was telling you before we went live, there's a lot of this that has just been kind of like rattling around in my head, and like I've been like doing some like, you know, scribbling and writing and trying to get my thoughts out there. And good Lord, I still tweet so much. Goodness gracious. It's like I cannot find this. Taking shots at Snyder Bros, and that's okay, here we go. All right. So again, this Twitter thread isn't complete. So just kind of bear with me as I just spitball some stuff. I've since gone back and refined some of this. Chat, I just came out of the shower with a full-on take on what a new Michael Bay Transformers movie could be. For starters, let me just manifest this just in case it actually happens. Transformers, parentheses, 2027. It's a legacy sequel to Transformers 2007, specifically not a sequel to The Last Night. Treat it like Halloween 2018 or any of those Terminator legacy sequels that ignores the previous sequels. Besides, the continuity in live-action Transformers is so Swiss cheese anyway that it hardly matters. I had mentioned before we went live that there would be some backhanded compliments. That is definitely one of them, because continuity in live action is a mess, so why even bother trying to reconcile it? It doesn't matter. Take what you want from the previous movies and leave the rest. Maybe like a Disney Star Wars approach, where it's like, oh, this Grand Admiral Thrawn guy is kind of cool. Let's use him somewhere.
Right.
You know, maybe treat what's in any of the interceding movies as a buffet. You know, maybe you like some of the stuff from Transformers 1, you use that. Maybe you like some of the stuff from Bumblebee, maybe you use that. Maybe you like something in Rise of the Beasts, and you know, maybe you have more affection for the Beast characters than that movie does. Oh no! Oh, where did that come? Actually, I've been sitting on that in my back pocket, and I couldn't figure out how.
I could tell. Yeah, you're just working that right in.
That was inappropriate.
Well, I don't want to cut you off, but I am going to cut you off. But yes. I mean, I like where you're going with this. I think this comparison's pretty good, but I'm a little uncomfortable with the forget about the sequels part of it, because obviously I like those very much, but I think there's room to I like what you're saying. I think there's room to make it more like, maybe a better comparison would be like Ghostbusters Afterlife, where you're not explicitly saying this stuff didn't happen. It's just you're kind of not talking about it. I mean, then, you know, later in the Ghostbusters sequel, Frozen Empire, we talk about like the walking Statue of Liberty. But in that first one, it was very much a sequel to the original Ghostbusters, but without just being like all that other stuff didn't happen for sure.
Got it.
I think there's like there's a middle ground there.
I could buy that enthusiastically. Next post, because I get a couple more. Bring all caps everyone back. Think Mission Impossible, where even Ninth Guy gets a character poster. And that was the idea that really kind of took root with me. And I think Lita had posted something to the effect of like, it was like a screenshot of Maggie and whatever Anthony Anderson's character is named in that movie. He might have a name, I don't know. But anyway, and she's like, bring them back. And I'm like, yes, not only do you bring them back, but you bring everybody back. And that's where I started getting the idea of like, oh, you just make this a straight sequel to 2007. That's where my thinking went. And again, I'm not discounting or disagreeing with your thought, because I think that's a more elegant solution than what I'm saying. But I'm showing my work, I guess.
Sure.
for lack of a better term, but at a time where you're bringing everybody back, and it's a sequel that retains the other sequels, where does it stop? You know, and that's where my brain stopped functioning, and I'm just like, oh, well, Halloween 2018, that's fine. None of the other sequels happened then. That's fine.
Right.
So anyway, but like, I was really stricken by what they did in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. It's hardly a spoiler because there's a poster, but there's a character from the first movie that not only returns. Oh, you would think it's a cameo. No, friend. This character is integral to the plot. And I'll leave it there. But regardless, it's like that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for Maggie to have something to do. I'm looking for Anthony Anderson to have something. Dude was on Law and Order for 10 years. You know, it's like Anthony Anderson is a legit actor, and his contribution to Transformers 2007 was eating a plate of donuts and being a uncomfortable stereotype. It would be cool for him to come back and, 20 years later be like a actual cool, capable character. Let's go back to the chat here. Maddie B, I like that Michael. Oh shit.
Yes, get it right. Get it right.
Damn it. I thought he was Team Mike for a sec. Go that route and don't hurt our precious babies. Babies being the other movies. LOL. Fine.
I love babies. Fine. Let's get that trademarked. We got to work on that right now.
That's fine. Because, but again, Michael Andrews, you found a way to button hook me on that. You're like, because I like those Ghostbusters movies just fine, and they found a way to do the legacy sequel thing in a way that I think will work here. We continue. Now here's where it gets polarizing. Go back to an emphasis on the U.S. military. Fetish shots of equipment and service members using convoluted jargon. Like I've been to a couple fan screenings of Transformers 2007 at TFCon, and the lines that people recite will surprise you. Of course, left cheek, and all of those other stuff. But there's so much jargon that Ep says, like, "Oh yeah, I'm not getting something from Ariel or whatever," yeah. And it's like and all these like military commands and stuff, and you lose some of that when you lose Michael Bay and you lose the connection to the military. One of the strongest opinions in Transformers fandom is that Transformers 2007 is propaganda for the military, for the US military. And my sensibilities are like, yeah. And for Mike Seibert's legacy sequel, you go back to that.
Yeah.
Think of the type of military hardware that we have now that we didn't then. What kind of new fighter jets do you got? What kind of tanks? What kind of ordnance do you have?
Yes. What has my tax dollars been buying?
Yeah. And it's like where this gets, I think, the most polarizing is in the ethos of what the fandom wants. The fandom wants character-driven stories. They want a not an emphasis on crude humor or uncomfortable stereotypes, and get the military out of my Transformers. Mm-hmm. For this project, I want all of that. Bring it all back.
Sure. Yeah.
You buy the ticket, you take the ride, because Paramount has been giving you those smaller character-driven stories. And you might be showing up, maybe your friends are showing up, but nobody else is showing up. And that's the problem. Michael Andrews, let me ask you this. For the last several movies, what is the thing that the Michael Bay movies have that those other movies don't? It may be a trick question. I'm trying to lead the witness. I have an answer if you don't, but
well, my first instinct was like huge human cast, or like big, kind of like a large cast of kind of a motley crew of characters. A lot of humans, not just one human. A lot of people kind of all over trying to scramble to the same place.
The word that came to me in the no, it's a great answer. I agree. No, it's not wrong at all. But the word that came to me in the shower that day, spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked so much about the scale of Transformers 2007.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And every opportunity I get, I will talk about like the alleyway scene where Optimus Prime reveals himself to Sam and Michaela, and just how elaborate that transformation is, and like how Optimus just rises up, and how big and scary Megatron is. Do you know, or do you remember that like the first shot of a Transformer that you see in Rise of the Beast is Optimus Prime's feet? Like he transforms off camera and you see him walking across the parking lot, and that's a side effect of the excised transit scene where Optimus Prime murders a Decepticon and throws him in the lake there or whatever. Right. But still, like, I mean, look at the way 2007 starts. Look at the siege on the military base. Look at Blackout. Look at that reveal.
Amazing.
And this other movie starts with a guy's feet. And since I've already waded into controversy here, let me throw this out there. And this, like I said, some of these thoughts are new and like has just occurred to me as I've been doing like this thought experiment. There was a time where I didn't care for the aesthetic of the design of the characters for 2007. And there's still some designs I don't like. And there's characters I don't like. But if you look at Optimus Prime, the real like insectoid almost, kind of like spindly weird with the flames and all that stuff, that design's got the juice. It's a cool ass design. And I'm no longer afraid to admit it. I like it. Yeah. I genuinely like it. Now, I don't like subsequent designs. Like by the time you get to The Last Night, the movie I never saw, he's barely a Transformer. He doesn't even have any truck parts on him. And you know how much I like my vehicle bits. It's like, give me door wings and tires and all this other shit hanging off of him. And 2007 delivers that. I've talked so much about like Bumblebee's brake calipers showing in his ankles when he transforms. That level of detail. Give me that. And what I feel like the hubris of Paramount and the problem with the latter day movies is that you made the mistake of giving the fans what they wanted. What have we been hearing since 2007 from 2007 through 2016? Oh man, we don't like the flames. We don't like that Optimus has a mouth. We want him to be a snub-nosed Peterbilt truck, not like I'm getting those mixed up. A Freightliner truck instead of a Peterbilt truck, that kind of thing. But we want him to be, the boxy cab over thing that he was in 1984. We want that. We want that. So they give it to you in the Bumblebee movie, and you only see it for a little bit of time, like in those now I feel retroactively harmful Cybertron prologue. I could come back to that if needed, but basically like you only see it for a little bit. And it wasn't until they put a toy out of it where like I picked it up. I found it in the wild. The Bumblebee movie, leader class Optimus. Yeah. I picked it up and I put it back down. I'm like, there's nothing here. It's not for me because like it's flat. There's no life to it. There's no juice to it. Sure, it's a boxy red truck man who looks kind of like he did in 1984, but also not really because the colors are all muted and he's still very gray and dark and all that. And then you get to Rise of the Beast where you're just living with this design. And while granted, there are moments where like the vehicle stuff is cool. The transformations are cool. Like the stuff where he's interacting with Noah and they're escaping Unicron and he does like the spin move and stuff. There are some cool things that they've done with that design, but for the most part, it's flat. Yeah. It just, it don't got the riz.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, because it reminded me of something when I was listening to the director commentary. He specifically brings that up, and he brought out that scene that you're talking about where Optimus like stands up in front of the kids for the first time, in front of Sam and Michaela. And like he was talking about how he loves that scene, and he storyboarded that out, and it looks almost exactly like how he storyboarded it, and he was really proud of that scene in that moment. But he was specifically talking about how he got so many. Well, I'll go back to this in a second. He was getting a lot of death threats and stuff for not making Optimus a flat nose cab. But he's like, he's specifically talking about, he's like, I could see it. There's an extra 8 feet I get out of Optimus that brought some dimension to him that I wasn't going to get if I used the flat nose cab. And he's like, that's why I did it. And then he also went on to say that, he loved the idea of the flames so much. He got a local like car customizer to like do the flames, and he loved the look of it. And I thought that was so, and the artist had such a good time like doing that. Like there was a lot of love put in that. It was definitely not meant to like the middle finger the fans, right?
Yeah, I 100% that. I don't remember if it was in the commentary or the one of the documentaries on that disc, because I have that same disc as well. I just don't have either of the cool cases. I just have like the regular ass.
You mean this?
Yeah. Well, and you've got an Optimus one also.
Yeah, that was my original one. That's the one I bought back in 2007 or 08, if that's when it came out on DVD. This one I just got to kind of complete the collection. And then I realized it's not just the case, the DVDs are in there. I can try it out.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you just got that?
Well, like a few months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I found a cheap one on Mercari, and I was like, I got
wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool. That's a neat piece for your collection. And they're
like $8, and I got the movie. Come on.
Oh, that's terrific. But one of the things that's a double-edged sword with Michael Bay, one of the statements, and unfortunately it's part of the terrific story that you're telling, not to take a dump on anything, but like he also says in that, he's like, oh yeah, we had to get like a real cholo in there. And I'm just like, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah,
so
it's cringe for sure.
You get some of that stuff as well.
But do you think I don't want to defend any kind of terminology like that.
I'm not asking you to. I'm just.
But I do think. Don't you think even when he said it, there wasn't any sort of like looking down upon this person when he said it? No. I honestly feel like he said it like maybe it was just like a whoops, a white guy's not supposed to use that word type of a thing. But like I just thought he was being complimentary of it. Like I think he said it like he literally thought he was complimenting this guy.
Sure. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I guess I'm just sharing that like that's a sensory memory that still sticks with me. Like I think about what he said, and it just it gave me the ick, as we occasionally say. But yes, there was care and consideration put into that, and it's definitely got the juice. And like I said, it's taken me a while to come back around to that, and I think. I forget if I've talked about this in the context with Two Mics, but like, now that I've had a taste of the rainbow, I can now appreciate the entire spectrum more, because like when in 2007, I'm 28, something like that. I'd have to do the math on that, but I'm not even 30, and like. I'm disconnected from Transformers fandom. It's like I'm, 2007 were there comic books? Yes. Like IDW was just getting started. I think they started in 06. And obviously Dreamwave before that. I don't want to lose the thread, but basically like, so I'm participating in the drips and drabs of Transformers stuff as it's coming out. So, but I'm not a part of like any larger fandom or anything. I'm not part of any community. I at this point in my life, I feel like I'm the only person who likes Transformers. So, but anyway, like I go into that, and it was I don't know. It was a pretty exciting experience for me. Like it was, it's like, holy crap, they actually did it. They did this shit in live action, like for real. There's a lot of stuff that I don't like. I remember specifically like character interactions. It's like, I need more of the Starscream Megatron, divorced couple type of thing. But that's all, fandom bullshit. Like, I remember being mad that, like, Optimus doesn't say Autobots transform and roll out, which is probably why I like animated so much, because he says that shit.
Yeah.
But like, but no, I guess it's hard because, like, trying to divorce it from a fandom expectation lens, and just appreciating it as just like, a broad appeal popcorn movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I lost the thread there. I forgot where I was going with that.
Well, let me bring up a couple things while you
Please.
try to find it.
Yeah, exactly. I'll find it there somewhere. It's sitting
right. Well, I think Michael Bay had like a when I was watching the commentary, I just kept noticing how much he was talking about the fans, and this is for the fans, and like I wanted to make this for the fans. And he's using terms like mass shifting, and he's clearly like gone deep in the weeds on some of this lore. Maybe that didn't like reflect in the movie as much, but I think you can only fit so much into it, especially when you're trying to make it appeal to a broader audience. He's still trying to get butts and seats and sell a lot of tickets. That's the point of these movies, folks. Can't deny that. But he also just kind of knew what to do to sell this movie. Like, he knew this was going to require a huge budget. So we have a lot of like product placement. We have a lot of, military interaction. What can we get them to supply just for the thrill of being in the movie? Like, I think he was able to sort of see the business side of it too, at the same time as like the visual side of it. And I just think that's something that like he uniquely brings to the Transformers franchise.
Yeah.
I also want to interject too, because this really got me. Like, he was talking about the death threats he was getting, and just, not even just death threats, but just like hate mail. And like the minute he was announced tied to the project, like, he's gonna tank this, he's gonna destroy Transformers, he's ruining my childhood. And this was all like before he did anything, before any like principal photography, before anything, just his name being attached for it. Like, that was the talking points someone was putting out there right away, is like, he's bad for this franchise, he's going to ruin it. And that's been there ever since. It's been so hard to topple over that. And I just think it's so crazy that was out there before we saw any footage or anything, right? That's just the G1er knee-jerk reaction. Like, this is different, this is going to suck.
Yeah.
That's such a bummer.
Which is an attitude that has prevailed today. Through today.
Yeah.
G1ers are probably like the almost most insufferable sect of the fandom. Followed closely by Baypologists, maybe. Well, no, because like I'm thinking about it through the lens of like, who is the loudest and the most obnoxious in the discourse. And we've talked about it on two mics where like we occasionally see younger folks engaging with G1 and having fun with it, but then you have a more radical sect of the fandom that's just like, fuck G1. I don't even like G1. I would like it if it didn't exist, that kind of thing. And
right.
And hardline perspective on anything like that isn't super great for the health of the fandom. I want to go to the chat here. Caleb has joined us on.
Hi, Caleb.
Michael Bay did it for industrial box fans. See, box fans.
Right.
Enjoy your summer. Hot Caleb summer. He posts a link. I am not clicking on that while they're fans. Okay. It's what's going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was going to say it's only fans. Oh no. It turns out you click on it and it's literally just box fans. Caleb, I'm just trying to set the record straight. There you go. So
It's funny you should mention OnlyFans, because when you were starting to talk about that foot stuff with Optimus Prime seeing his feet, I was like,
yeah,
that's where my mind went. It was like, giving that away for free, guy.
but
Put that
yeah,
behind the paywall.
that's been the problem with these movies, is giving the fans, quote unquote, what they want. And in doing so, Paramount is now in a spot where now they don't know what to do, because they keep making movies that the fans scream up and down and say that they want, but they don't show up. And
Yeah,
it's like
this loud, small sect doing the screaming, and then that doesn't sell the tickets, right?
correct. And I've waded into controversy a little bit. There's been a swell of fandom for Transformers 1. And I don't want to necessarily give him the gas by mentioning Hype Guy by name, but like what I have seen from the most voracious and passionate fans of Transformers 1 is that they're a hop, skip, and a jump removed from the Zack Snyder fans that are like, we want this and only this and reject anything else. To the point those fans are saying, like, well, they've already said they're not giving us Transformers 1. Well, or a sequel to Transformers 1. They're bringing back Michael Bay. We're going to boycott. We're going to boycott the Michael Bay movie so that they have no choice but to greenlight a sequel to Transformers 1. That's the depth of insight that you're dealing with in Transformers fan discourse.
Yeah.
Now, maybe that's too fat and broad of a brush, because I'm not trying to say all or every, but I see a lot of it. But the thing with a vocal minority is that they are incredibly loud. Mm-hmm. Like the Snyder Bros would have you believe that they represent the majority of the DC fandom. My brother, they do not.
Right. There are dozens of them, dozens.
Yeah, but because they're so loud, I had a terrific interview with artist Blackie Shepherd a number of years ago, a million years ago, and because I said something about, well, everybody thinks this, and he got me to think and said, like, well, who's everybody? Well, the people screaming on Twitter. You think the people screaming on Twitter is everybody? That's just the tip of the spear. And the tip of the spear, while sharp and loud, is not representative of the majority. So it's so hard, especially for me, like being in like this fandom space, doing podcasting and social media and all this other stuff. I get sucked into this. I get blinded and distracted and think this is what everybody thinks. And it's very difficult sometimes, because like there's at least a few people that I'm specifically thinking of that have been very loud in their opposition to the return of Michael Bay for some of those political reasons that we discussed earlier. And I mean, like there are people tweeting about, like, well, you know what we really need in live action? We need more than meets the eye. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Fucking Rodimus and Ratchet and Autobot Megatron getting into Star Trek style adventures. Well, that sounds great. Good luck exhibiting that in China. Who the hell is going to go see that movie? The same people who saw Transformers 1. Nobody. Right. But we will. I mean, I've long advocated for, like, do that stuff in animation. Like, not even Transformers 1 style, like more like the DC Extended Universe stuff. Like do it in hand-drawn animation. And I think, like, you cherry pick individual storylines. I think that would be rad. Now, granted, Skybound has completely changed the game. There may or may not be a Energon Universe cartoon TV show coming for Amazon. Similar in style to Invincible. Robert Kirkman is going to be writing Transformers coming up after Daniel Warren Johnson is done in an issue or two. So I get really frustrated when I hear people talking about, oh, Transformers is doomed, or like, Transformers is on its last legs because Transformers 1 didn't perform well at the box office. I think we as fans have a hard time differentiating things from the other. Now, I would say that Paramount's offerings of Transformers movies is in decline, and they need to do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if that something is a G.I. Joe crossover movie like was teased in Rise of the Beast. I want that. I mean, I've wanted that for years. I mean, because again, we talked about this very recently, Michael Andrews. We were both at that panel at TFCon Chicago a million years ago with Rick Alvarez. And after he answered your question about Jolt being a homage to Armada, and he said no, somebody else asked him about a crossover with what? Did I get it wrong?
I was gonna say bullshit, by the way. That he said no, it wasn't. But all right.
Sure. I mean, that's Rick for you. He has a singularly single-minded version of what his interpretation of history is.
Also, love you, Rick. Love your guides. Thank you for your time.
Sure. Yeah, sure, whatever. But no, he's a tough, abrasive person.
Yeah,
I have tried chatting him up a number of times in a number of conventions, and just I can't break through. So it's fine. I don't have to be friends with everybody, but the thing that was also asked in this panel was the potential crossover with G.I. Joe, and he was like, when I was at Hasbro working on Transformers, the Joe team always wanted it, and the Transformers team never thought they needed it. And I think that's an attitude that has prevailed for years. And hot take, I think that's still the case. Like, I love that G.I. Joe is part of the Energon universe, but at a time where people are complaining about the fetishization, that still has one too many.
I still don't think you got it, but yeah, I think we
get it. God damn it! I'm not going to try it again.
No,
when you fetish the U.S. military and fans reject that and say, "I don't want that. Get that out of my Transformers." Of course, they don't want G.I. Joe. Why would they?
Yeah,
I get that. But for me, like, I celebrate the catalog. Like, we had a terrific live stream with folks from CybFest, dealers, organization team, and we had a very similar conversation to this. And the popular consensus is like, how come you're not bringing My Little Pony back in with Transformers? So that's the level of stuff that like the hardcore fans want. I mean, like, and if you haven't read those two miniseries, the two My Little Pony crossovers with Transformers, do yourself a favor. Yeah. You could check them out. They are delightful.
Yeah, I do want to see those actually, or read those. Yeah.
Some of the most fun Transformers stories I've read, and some really fun character moments that are very reflective of what how would Shockwave react to having a cream pie thrown in his face by a My Little Pony? That kind of
right.
Like, I mean, there's some good stuff and top tier talent. I mean, it's like you got Jack Lawrence and Casey Collar and who knows who else. But like, anyway, I rave about those books. And again, I could deal with that as like an animated feature, but it would be for like such a narrow audience. Whereas I think the thing, getting back to my treatment here in a bit, is that Paramount needs to do something to make Transformers appeal to a broad audience, including a foreign audience. There's a reason, and again, that word I used earlier, spectacle. There's a reason why these movies made $1 billion, because you can show them in France and China and whatever non-English speaking countries. It doesn't matter, because it's just a Michael Bay movie where stuff gets blowed up.
Yeah.
And, and we talk about Bayhem. Sometimes I say that as, pejoratively and insultingly, but that's what a new Transformers movie needs to be. The problem with Rise of the Beast is like nothing really blows up. Like
Yeah.
think of all of those iconic scenes from any of the Michael Bay sequels.
Yeah.
Even in movies that I don't like, there are some spectacular stunts and gags and explosions, and the amount of like primer cord the guy goes through, and just like, the explosions in the sand, and like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, this is for the trailer shot and stuff. Transformers has forgotten how to do that because they're too busy giving the fans what they want, because they said they want like, smaller character driven stories. But really, what I don't know. I just feel like these movies should be like one for them, one for us, or something like that.
Well, two things on that really quick.
Yeah.
One, I don't think I specifically said, though, I really do like Rise of the Beasts. I've revisited it several times. I keep finding things to like about it, but kind of on that note, it without practical effects, as much as Michael Bay likes to put in his movies, that end battle, as great as it was, as huge as it was, just kind of looked like a big cartoon to me at some point.
Yeah.
It was really hard to like, I was really having the kind of the uncanny valley thing, or just like, it was all the orcs coming over the hill in Lord of the Rings. Like I just couldn't wrap my head around it as much. That this viscera feel that Michael Bay does, I really like. And I just think Transformers fans, maybe we don't know what we want. It's kind of hard to put our finger on it, and so we keep kind of demanding these things, but then we don't like show up for it, and it turns out we don't really like it. So I think there's a little bit of that going on too.
Well, remember, I want to call attention to something that you, me, and Abby talked about in I forget which of maybe it was during Transwarped, I think. Where I had stuck my neck all the way out there about something like the fans don't know what they want. Folks that aren't fans make better movies than folks that are fans. I went like all on like this weird tangent, kind of more or less centered around the perspective of the J.J. Abrams 2009 Star Trek, saying like that's an example of a guy who wanted to make a Star Wars movie, but instead was offered Star Trek and decided to bring that sensibility to it, unburdened of fandom bullshit. And I pointed to that, saying that like that's an example of where that works, because and ironically enough, oh man, the J.J. Abrams Kelvin timeline stuff and the Michael Bay Transformers movie is very much of a kind, because first one really good, sequels really not good, in my opinion. So
there's one man's opinion on this. On this discussion.
Also, the box office's opinion, because people stopped going. Nobody saw Star Trek Beyond. I like that quite a bit, because basically it's a Fast and Furious movie with Star Trek. But
it is fun.
It is. I mean, it's fun as fuck. There's a goddamn motorcycle chase. Captain Kirk rides a motorcycle. It's rad.
Yeah.
I will stand up for that movie quite a lot, despite some of the problems it has. But that's the thing. It's like you run the risk. I mean, you end up with the Marvel problem. You end up with the Star Wars problem. Look what happens when you start giving the fans what they want, too much of what they want, and letting the fans lead you by the nose.
Yeah.
And I like now retroactively that Michael Bay wasn't as much a fan at first. He kind of became a fan and was kind of immersed in it. I think he caught fandom by osmosis. And you already said it brilliantly, Michael, where it may not have made it into the material, but he could at least speak to it. Like, and that's, I need to look more kindly at that as well.
Yeah. If I can, I want to get back to your treatment of it. I think there's a lot more meat on that
Sure.
bone than I have for my treatment of it. But
Sure.
I guess this is a good time for me to say
I have
this
way
is
too much. We won't get to almost any of it, but
just
that's all
pitch it
right.
directly to Hasbro, okay? Don't
Yeah,
give away the gold for free.
yeah.
No, I was gonna say that the Transformers movie that I thought of right away when the first thing I saw before I read any of the news articles, when I just kind of saw the headline of like Michael Bay returns to Transformers, my brain went, oh, he's gonna do the Transformers G.I. Joe crossover. Because that to me just makes so much sense. Why aren't people talking about that? Like that guy could pull off the ultimate G.I. Joe crossover film with Transformers. Like he's got it right there. It almost was that. It almost was G.I. You know, we could make Ness G.I. Joe. Like we could you could go back and digitally make the patches on their thing say G.I. Joe, and it'd be a G.I. Joe movie. And I think, you know, what would be so cool about that is that make it a reason to like embrace the human characters, whereas the human characters wouldn't be like in the way of, you know, making this cool Transformers movie. It'd be like, I want to see more of these like cool characters. I mean, just think of how much he did with like Tyrese's character and Josh Duhamel's character, like Lennox and Epps. Like people care about them. Like those are household names to us Bayverse fans. We like those guys. And they weren't even like these huge characters, but they gave enough to them where you're like, I want more. And then last night when they're like, we're bringing them back, it was like, yes. And Simmons, oh my gosh, yes. You know, they've made a name out of these guys.
Oh, those guys are in that movie too?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Well, that's two more reasons for me to go check it out then. I figured they pieced out after Dark of the Moon, but
no, they come back, and this is actually a great moment to bring up Matthew Barbario's last or most recent start in the chat here. Huge spectacle. I think this is what I was trying to impart on Blake Vadertron on our roundtable discussion. Still looking up, trying to find the video clip, but there's so much like love, like visual love put into Last Night by Michael Bay. It is just this spectacle. Like some of these scenes, like they're just so artsy. They bring you to tears with like the scale and the scope of them. It's just huge. So there is that to look forward to.
Well, and that so the chat reads, there's some amazing spectacle in the Last Night, Mike just saying. So yeah, note taken. And again, maybe I guess now I need a content reason to watch that, because I think now if I just sit down and watch it, it'd be like Paul Giamatti's character in Sideways, where he like drinks the bougie wine in McDonald's at the end of the movie. Spoilers for that movie. And I know I'm completely missing the point, because the whole point of that is like, it doesn't matter to like, the theme of it is like, you know, you're supposed to let go of being a bougie asshole, and you know, you just drink your damn wine. It doesn't matter what the occasion is for it. Drinks it out of a paper cup in a friggin' McDonald's. Anyway, that's but no, that's the other thing that you were saying about Michael Bay with like the spectacle is the reliance on practical effects. And the problem with the climax of Rise of the Beast is it's goddamn video game. Whereas like all of those explosions are all very real.
Yeah.
You know, like you can smell the gunpowder. You can feel the heat. You can feel your singed eyebrows, you know, from all of that. And that's what those movies have been missing. Bumblebee doesn't have that. Rise of the Beast doesn't have that. And so anyway, so let me go back to this treatment a little bit. Go back to
right before you do though. Maybe this comes up later, but what do you think about, just maybe hot take, quick take? What do you think about him, Michael Bay doing G.I. Joe? Like, does that scare you? Is that cringe fest? Is that
no? I can live with that. I can live with that. Because really, G.I. Joe is another concept that has yet to be done right in live action. Like Rise of the Cobra is not good. It's fun adjacent. Like there's some good casting in there. Like Ray Park as Snake Eyes is a revelation. That's terrific, but almost nobody else is good in there. And there Channing Tatum doesn't know what movie he's in. He thinks he's in a real movie. And I
keep going back and watching that one though.
It's fun. It's fun as fuck, but it's dumb as fuck. But I like G.I. Joe when it's dumb. So, but that movie has a tone problem where it's like it wants to be Transformers, but also not. It's like if it's going to be as stupid as it is, I wish it had the self-awareness to know how stupid it is. And I think that's due to the Stephen Summers of it, because like basically it's the director of The Mummy. So he's bringing kind of like that kind of sensibility to it. But again, doesn't quite find the right tone, because I mean, like, do it as a lighthearted adventure like The Mummy, and that would be fine. I could live with that. But they didn't get it quite right. So the sequel, Retaliation, I think is the one that us Joe fans point to as like, that's the one that is the closest. Because like it's got all the crazy bonkers G.I. Joe lore in there. It's got like ninjas and like, you know, like the RZA plays the blind master, and you got Zartan in there. And like G.I. Joe for me is my favorite type of G.I. Joe is when it's colorful and silly and weird. Like if everybody's just wearing like just regular boring military fatigues, I'm not interested. There are some folks that will say that that's what they want it to be, like a real like Black Hawk Down situation, like do Black Hawk Down but with G.I. Joe. I'm like, that doesn't do anything for me. I would say though the exception to that is there's a show on Paramount Plus. It's one of them Taylor Sheridan joints called Lioness, where basically like it's a special forces team, but like each person on the team has like their own special military specialty. It is very G.I. Joe in a real fun kind of way, to the point where I pulled some toys off the shelf. I'm like, I have these characters already in action figure form. I'm like, look at this. And like the lead character, the titular Lioness, is a Marine sniper. And I have a G.I. Joe classified series Marine sniper figure who is female, and like one of the swappable heads looks exactly like the actress that's in there, and I'm like, just look, it's her. and like there's another character, I'm like, this guy could be Roadblock, and it was a fun little exercise. But like, I mean, I guess that's kind of the extent of that. But like so with a Michael Bay treatment, it kind of gets to a bit in my treatment where I wasn't sure what to do with Lennox and Epps. Like, obviously they need to be in this because they're legacy characters and they're fan favorite characters. But I put in this Twitter thread, go back to the emphasis on the U.S. military, fetish shots of equipment and service members using convoluted jargon, and maybe Lennox and Epps are in G.I. Joe also. I don't care. G.I. Joe could be a part of the military too. I don't care. This isn't the crossover movie. And then I also said, bring in Michael Kelly from Rise of the Beast to cameo, maybe to tie those threads together. Because like,
and Lioness, bring it all together.
There you go. See, you know what's up.
Yeah, yeah,
pretty awesome. The show rules. And Michael Kelly's terrific in it. But anyway, I feel that much like in the Energon universe with Skybound, G.I. Joe is a part of it, whether we want it or not. I'm sorry if the larger fandom doesn't want that. I think we're kind of stuck with it now. I think, and I believe that it's in Hasbro's best interest to tie these together in a way that they didn't in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there was like one G.I. Joe versus the Transformers comic in the late 80s. It was like a 4-issue, no, it was 3 issues, a Marvel comic series. And it's disconnected from both continuities. So it's you know, it's one of those kinds of things. I want to go back to the chat for a sec here. Caleb, great convo this evening. I must turn in beer, hot dogs, and fireworks tomorrow. Happy 4th. And dough for Joe. So he must have missed all the G.I. Joe discourse where we were doing dough for Joe, ironically enough. That's the only reason why I wanted to call that out. Thanks for hanging out with us, Caleb. Have a happy and healthy 4th of July.
Started with pay for Bay, and then we go for dough for Joe. It's all happening.
It's all happening. But then I thought about, in this shower thought, I thought about what G.I. Joe is. G.I. Joe isn't the U.S. military. This movie needs the U.S. military. G.I. Joe, if I can quote the iconic intro, G.I. Joe is a highly trained special missions force. Its purpose is to defeat Cobra, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world. That's all they do. They fight Cobra. So like, because they really don't want you to continue your health benefits after you leave a company. They are anti-Cobra.
Right, sure.
Real dumb. Real dumb. I remember I left a job once and I'm like, ooh, I get to be on Cobra. Oh, I'm part of Cobra now. That's pretty cool. It's like, that's not the flex you think it is. You need a job.
It's a different kind of flex for sure.
Exactly. But so I think that like G.I. Joe, much like Nest, much like Sector 7 before that, is, or maybe even Cemetery Wind to an extent, is like a special missions group. And really, G.I. Joe doesn't get involved until Cobra gets involved. Now, if Cobra is like in cahoots with the Decepticons, because like in like the Energon universe, they kind of do some Isaac Sumdac stuff with Cobra Commander. He may or may not have Megatron captive, and he may or may not be doing some reverse engineering. I'm like, I see what you do, you prep. I saw that. You think we didn't notice, but we noticed it. So I mean, I can mess with that, and I like the idea of Lennox and Epps being a part of that. But I also like them being still entrenched in the U.S. military and maybe being a foil or a antagonistic force for G.I. Joe. Maybe G.I. Joe comes in big swinging dicks. Oh, you know what? We're going to take care of this. And then, you know, grizzled silver fox Josh Duhamel comes out. He's like, the fuck you say? You know, that kind of thing. And then you get some conflict. And that's the other thing, too. It's like, you know, with these movies, the latter day movies, they're kind of short on conflict, like interpersonal conflict. So you have to introduce elements where these characters, even though they have similar purposes, you know, you can have some oil and water in there as well. So maybe G.I. Joe is not as friendly with the U.S. military, much like the operators in Lioness. They're like, oh, we got to deal with these DEA assholes, you know, that kind of thing. So there's some like cross agency dick measuring and things like that. But
well, if I can bounce off that a little bit, I know it's a little difference from what you're saying, but I think you have some room here, because you have this sort of, if we're talking your plot where it's like 2027, 20 years later, you have some of the, and you bring back this whole cast, like you have some of these characters, and kind of talking about the Lita tweet that we were mentioning earlier, like bring back Maggie and she can be a part of G.I. Joe now. Like if we're putting together this ragtag group, you know, you have Josh Duhamel as sort of the Duke character. You bring back Epps, you know, and then Anthony Anderson and Maggie are kind of part of like, who's the, I'm not a G.I. Joe expert here, but who's sort of like the hacker type or like communications expert or something like that?
There's a few different ones, but there's a character called Mainframe.
Exactly. That's who I was thinking.
And so Anthony Anderson could be Mainframe. That's fine. Maggie could be Mainframe. That would be fine. That would be fine.
Yeah. Or Maggie could be like a Scarlet kind of a thing. Sure. I mean, these could be like code names or something for characters that we already know. Like, what a cool tie-in I think that would be. But you already have kind of this like diverse background of characters that was already built into the 2007 movie with like, we want a high school kid, and we want a hacker, and we want a hacker's kind of video game obsessed friend, and we want the real, like, we want a cop, and then we want a Men in Black type guy in Simmons. They have all these characters there. Simmons could be a big part of like, I'm starting another shoot off group, right? another
one. Yeah, exactly. Which I like that too.
Yeah.
So a couple other things from my skeletal half shower brain treatment, and then I have some more detailed stuff that we could breeze over as we wrap up. I go, since it's a true legacy sequel, do all the modern tropes, it's glum and bleak. Sad sack bad dad, estranged couple, plucky new characters. So I'm just trying to think of like all these bullshit legacy sequels, like Indiana Jones, sad sack. Han Solo, sad sack. Luke Skywalker, sad sack. Maverick, sad sack adjacent. So
Right.
any of these legacy characters need to be glum and sad, and the world is decidedly worse. That's the other thing. The world is not better. It's a real Force Awakens situation. The world is now worse, despite the day being saved. I continue. The Autobots are.
Sorry, if I can jump in, I was going to say when you started this
ahead,
thing, I wrote down literally right here, "Old Man Duhamel."
Oh yeah,
that's what I wanted, like the old and I wrote in parentheses like old Indiana Jones or like Old Man Logan style. Like come back to him and he sort of answers the door of his apartment like I don't do that anymore, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
that's what I want, baby.
Yeah, I think that would be great. I wrote the Autobots are gone, and it's up to our mix of new and old characters to have to find them before it's too late. Maybe do a riff on All Hail Megatron ? One of the other things that's kind of integral to my weird treatment here is the movie doesn't start with the hero character's feet. You don't get Optimus Prime until like over an hour in. Maybe much like with 2007, because of budgetary concerns and other factors, you don't see a lot of the Transformers early on. First half of the movie, very sparing. And then by the time you get to Mission City, you've kind of normalized that. I would like to see a return to less is more, and then more can be more later. Like literally take the blueprint of 2007. Sure, you give us like a dizzying action sequence to kick us off, very similar to the Blackout sequence. But then you put things on simmer. And then you steep in it long enough. Maybe you're hanging out with the human characters long enough to where it's like, wait a sec, where the hell is Bumblebee? Where is Optimus? Oh, and maybe there's some veiled dialogue of, oh man, well, it's real sad what happened or something. Well, what the hell happened? Well, it turned out like the Autobots like went into hiding or something like that. And nobody talks about, like the Battle of Mission City or what happened in 2007. It's a big mystery or something like that. And then it becomes a quest like Force Awakens, where it's like, we have to find Luke Skywalker. We have to find Optimus Prime, or we have to find Sam Witwicky.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The idea that Optimus Prime, I mean, kind of in the same way of Bumblebee, but just like big and overused and shown all the time. Like, let's slow it down. Let's make him more like the Incredible Hulk, or like, let's save him a little bit towards the end. I think that's great. And I know Matthew Barbario is going to know this moment, but like in Dark of the Moon, that moment when you think all the Autobots are dead, they got blown up on their shuttle. The biggest robo boner I've ever gotten is like when Optimus comes back and it's like that dun dun, that Jablonski score, and he's just after you think he's dead and he just like stands up. I'm just crying and not standing up in front of people. Like it's so good.
Scale, spectacle. That kind of thing. All categorically what we're talking about here. I'll skip to these last two because it was on topic. I tweeted Jablonski comes back to score. Duh.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, duh. And then I wrapped this up. I was like, new music from Linkin Park. Duh. The movie closes with a new recording of What I've Done. Credits. And that's the end of the Twitter thread.
That's good.
But yeah, the score is good. But the thing that I also wanted to talk about with you had mentioned Optimus Prime and like saving it, and I think Irish Mike, our buddy, had posted about, he had said something about like, I don't need to hear Peter Cullen voice Optimus Prime ever again, because like in my opinion, not his opinion, I don't have that tweet in front of me, but sure. I feel like Mr. Cullen has been misused of late, like, because like what he's doing in Rise of the Beast is like, not here, buddy. And of course we're not even going to talk about the thing with Bumblebee, where basically they had epic voice guy John Bailey record all of Optimus's dialogue, and then they asked Mr. Cullen to re-record in his voice using his mannerisms, which is still bizarre to think about. Like that is a thing that actually happened, and that's been confirmed by all parties. Like, I mean, that's not like an urban legend or anything like that. But anyway, like I responded to that post from Mike and I said, you know, I agree with you, with the exception of, because of Mr. Cullen's age and kind of where he's at, you give him literally an old man Logan story where he comes back for one adventure and he could be tired and weary and that's what the character is, but he's spurned on, you know, maybe to like save a young person or something like that for like one last adventure. And basically you just do Logan, except it's Optimus Prime.
Sure.
And you could do that in this Michael Bay movie, because like maybe this would be the last time Mr. Cullen voices Optimus Prime. And, you know, maybe he finally gets the sweet release of death that he's always looking for, because Optimus is at all times ready for it.
Yeah.
But you take some of the violence from Logan, and you can do that with this Optimus, because this dude is down to murder at any time. Yeah. So, and this would kind of be justified because, I remember the thing that I was going to say like an hour or so ago. Like, remember there was a time where like I got lost and completely lost the thread. I was going to talk about like, Transformers is a spectrum. It's a rainbow. And that, like, you know, with all of these different iterations, there's so many different ways to enjoy these characters and concepts. And one of them, now that it's almost 20 years old, this live action version is just another one of those. But in 2007, I didn't know that, because remember, I've told you so much about like my hangups with name reuse and things like that.
Right.
And now I'm free of all that, because now I know that there's so many different Optimus Primes and so many different Megatrons and so many different, you know, this, that, and other things, and so many things that are Transformers that, while they are violently and viciously different, are still Transformers, which I think is great. Alpha Magnus has joined the chat. You're a rainbow.
No, you are.
Yeah, exactly. Rainbow, LOL. But yeah, no, I think that's part of it. It's like, I think I have a new appreciation for this that I didn't previously. I can let go of, you know, 2007 Optimus, you know, not saying Autobots transform and roll out and saying stupid stuff like, at the end of this day, one shall stand and one shall fall. Brother, you didn't earn that. You know,
yeah.
You know, I can let go of that stuff, because now it's like its own kind of pocket universe thing.
And you know, even like let's make fun of that a little bit, or let's have like a human character be like, come on, what happened to the transform and roll out guy? And he's like, not that guy anymore, or, you know, something like that, right? Like that Grizzly, and have him carrying. This is a deal breaker for me. I want him carrying around that Megatron shotgun from Dark of the Moon, right? Like I want the taped up big shotgun. I love that.
It is a cool weapon, and when he uses it on Sentinel, it is pretty righteous. It is pretty cool. I'm not gonna not say that it's not. Maddie B in the comments here. We also need Peter and Frank together at least one more time. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, you know, I know this isn't exactly what but this sparked my memory, and Matthew, please. Since you're hanging in here, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about last night for a second.
Yeah, please, my God.
One of the things I think we we're kind of alluding to, where like the writer's room kind of was all over the place in last night, where I think it could have been streamlined. I think the story that's there that we're not really seeing and we're not presented with is like, we almost got like that good guy Megatron situation where like Optimus Prime was like launched into space. He's missing for half the movie. And Megatron gets kind of tasked with putting together this ragtag team of Decepticons to like sort of be like a Transformers Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
We almost got that movie, and then it just kind of took a huge far right. But I think we almost got that. That's something that would be really cool to see. So kind of like what Matthew was saying, I'd love like sort of a team up moment, or like, you know, like the shaking hands, or kind of one last time, like a true team up with like Optimus and Megatron.
Yeah. I like that. I think that would be fun. Like, you know, basically like the end of the Studio Trigger video. You know, like the bump of chicken thing, where it's like, you know, they fight as their G1 selves, and then they turn into the Earthspark version and shake hands. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I like that. And I think that would make fans of the Transformers 1 kind of happy as well, because, you know, we've kind of gotten accustomed to Megatron and Optimus having like this kind of history. It can't all be animated where it's just like, I don't even know your name.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, do you remember
You're gonna remember it now?
that sweet moment we got in animated where they're like kind of like back to back for that 1 second fighting, and it's really like a Megatron, who are you again kind of a moment. But they do have that classic, like, you know,
back to back thing. Yeah,
fighting. Yeah, I love it.
So let me race through some of my notes here, and I've got it in like a couple different Google Docs, because like I was writing some of it in notebooks, typing others, and so anyway, so like initially I had thought it was going to be 20 years later for 2027. I don't think that's going to cut it. Let's call it like 2037. It's like 30 years, and this version, just for the this was based on it being a Halloween 2018 direct sequel. But I think it'll still work within your framework. Basically, the world has continued to advance technologically because of more or less most modern technology is, you know, reverse engineered from Megatron. So I would think that those innovations would continue. Maybe they hung on to some of those discarded Transformers bodies instead of dropping them in the abyss, and maybe continued to tinker with them. Don't really know. But basically, like, this movie starts where like civilization is kind of like, and I should preface this now because there's going to be a lot of animated that has made it in here because it's very much top of mind for me. But basically, like something like how we see Detroit in 2157 in animated. You know, there's robots running around. You know, AI is a concern. You got, you know, space travel is modernized. You got bases on the moon. That's going to come into play in a little bit. But basically the Autobot war, the war in my version, since it takes place after 2007, never happened. I mean, like basically the Battle of Mission City was the end of the war, and it's kind of like a hidden history type of thing. Now, while we thought the Allspark was destroyed, turns out it's being there's a new form of it, or like, you know, it's like found again, or like the energies are coming back again. I'm not a writer. I don't have this fleshed out, but basically something happens where like the Autobots and Decepticons are like, okay, well, the Allspark is back. We need to get our hands on it. But then there's also like rogue humans who want it also. Like, I don't know, like a Cemetery Wind faction group or something like that. Yeah. And basically what the thrust of this would be is like, again, like I said earlier, it's like, it's glum, it's gloomy, and everybody's like old and sad, that kind of thing. But you also have like plucky new heroes, that kind of thing. So basically it would kind of start with some kind of attack, except instead of a military base, it's on the moon or something.
A moon base, if you will, perhaps two of them.
Base. And there may or may not be two of them. And maybe that's where Maggie and Anthony Anderson are working. I don't know. All of these takes will end with I don't know. That way they can communicate over comms and refer to each other as Moonbase 1 or Moonbase 2. But basically, like, it's, you know, it's very similar in scope and scale, and it's a scary new Decepticon that we haven't seen before, much like with Blackout. What is what do we got here from Alpha Magnus? The Allspark is a sentient pretender human that has the Midas touch on human tech. Ooh, I like that. That's cool. That's cool.
I dig it.
So yeah, you get some narration from old man Logan Peter Cullen as old man Optimus. And then that's when you start to meet your new characters. You know, maybe they're plucky and 20 something, you know, real Gen Z types, that kind of thing. But like, I think these would be characters that are like, you know, good with tech, but also like somehow maintaining that awkwardness of Sam Witwicky. Maybe they're in high school. I don't know. Space high school, moon high school. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's kind of where like I think our main character needs to be like a young female person. Enough with the dudes. In fact, I think
how about Lennox's daughter all grown up?
Sure. Well, we'll get to her. We'll get to her.
Okay, all right.
Thing also, she's a fighter pilot. Yeah, stolen from Top Gun Maverick. Basically, it's like it's Annie Lennox's daughter, who is also named Annie Lennox, is like a fighter pilot, much like the Miles Teller character from Top Gun Maverick, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
but she's all like estranged and hard and flinty and stuff like that. Let me see. So Sam is Sam Witwicky is in this, but he's old and cantankerous, and he's like living off the grid, you know, that kind of thing, almost like Agent Simmons, that kind of thing. Maybe he's got a little bit of crazy because he's still Shia LaBeouf, that kind of thing. But Shia LaBeouf is in the movie. Now, maybe you do a Blade Runner 2049 thing and you reveal him later. Because like it's Ryan Gosling's movie, and then Harrison Ford shows up when he goes to find him. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Shia LaBeouf has a jagged fragment of the Allspark with when you hold it up to the ocean, it shows like the wreckage of where you need to go or something dumb.
Yes.
That's real dumb.
No, I like you finally got me on board, Mike. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, wait a sec. No, I had this wrong. No, Sam has a daughter who he's estranged from, who is a rebellious pilot and resents his secretive past. Dad, tell me about the Mission City. We don't talk about Mission City, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Let's see, what else do we got? Oh, so also the I mentioned the moon base, and also I would like to think that the energy that I'm conveying here is very Patton Oswalt's Filibuster. You know, it's like we come down from the twin sons of Tatooine, and then the armed gauntlet of Boba Fett unearths from the maw of the Sarlacc as the feared bounty hunter crawls out of the Sarlacc. So this is all very manic. But basically, like on the moon base, there's like some kind of like government technological conspiracy. They figure out how to combine new technology with like an Allspark fragment, and it creates like something like new and dangerous and volatile. I don't know what it can do. I haven't thought about that yet.
Sure.
And yes, Alpha Magnus, that filibuster came true. In fact, it's word for word. In fact, Dave Filoni confirmed that basically they filmed it like shot for shot. Patton Oswalt went on like Kimmel or Fallon or one of the Jimmys, and basically like they overlaid it, and it's pretty freaking cool. Let me see. Also, Mutt is still dead though. No, not in this one. Shia lives.
That's where my brain was going though when you were bringing that up, because like he could play the cantankerous, right? Like if we are to believe he is the genetic offspring of Indiana Jones, then yes.
Yeah. So anyway, so you have this evil syndicate who wants to use this dread weapon, and meanwhile, the new Decepticon leader, Shockwave, is the main villain, because in my version, Dark of the Moon didn't happen. So this my version of this is where I'm taking a cue from like the end of the Marvel Comics limited series where Shockwave is so powerful and aloof that he doesn't buy in with either side. He's the only person that can harness this energy for like his dark experiments, or like I always think of that panel where like the Autobots and Decepticons have fought each other to a standstill. Cliffhanger, boom, shot from above, it's Shockwave. And like and basically my Shockwave in this is the are all dead version, like Decepticons and Autobots alike, that kind of thing. So that was kind of my thinking there. So then it's like a Luke Skywalker type of quest. You find old man Optimus, you find old man Sam, maybe Sam and his plucky daughter reconnect a little bit. What else do we got? Oh yeah, so we thought the Allspark was destroyed. Turns out it wasn't. It's in a vault on the moon. Fuck am I smoking here?
Someone dozing off with the notepad a little bit.
Yeah, and
a little rummy.
and it gets real.
Dogs and cats living together.
It's real light from here because now it's just like, Bumblebee is like some kind of like future Camaro. New characters are like whatever EVs GMC wants to sell. Oh, that's the other thing. Sorry. In addition to re-emphasizing the fetishization, I got it right this time, fetishization of the U.S. military, also you go back to doing car commercials. So it's like, because again, think of what Michael Bay is almost most famous for, aside from his action movies, car photography.
Yes.
It's like, so I want to see
concept car photography. That's where you can get that futuristic take from.
Yeah. So you want long, lustful shots of all of these vehicles, car porn, basically, car porn, military porn, and hopefully with a more 2025, 26, 27 sensibility, maybe lay off the misogyny a little bit. But it reminds me of like, who is this movie for? To me, my movie is for folks who were 13 years old in 2007, who are now like in their mid 30s. This isn't a movie for me. I don't know if it's a movie for you. It might be, but I think it needs to be big and dumb and loud.
Yeah.
And again, I say that as like a backhanded kind of thing. What's Maddie B say here? Maybe this is the movie we could get GM to bring the Camaro back. Oh, I didn't realize they stopped making Camaros. Well, there you go. So Bumblebee is, so you tie it to a new initiative with GM where they're going to bring back the Camaro, much like they did in 2007, and you do this. Perfect. Alpha Magnus in the chat regarding Shockwave, Long Arm, or GTFO. Oh, there you go. Third act twist. And one of the plucky new characters that you meet is kind of like a nervy, kind of a bulky kind of himbo type of dude named Long Arm. We all know who Long Arm is, but the people in the movie don't.
That would be like the perfect Bayverse Easter egg type thing, right?
That would be super sick.
Like just a little reward for us, but everyone would be like, oh my God, it's who?
The problem is that we would see it coming. So it's like you almost have to do stuff that's not fandom related. Like you got to create like new characters and stuff. That's fine.
Can I add a little color to your treatment here for just a second? I like all this. I like the future stuff. I like the moon base. I'm here for all of it.
Yeah.
Visually, what I'm picturing though is a little more like retro futurism, where we sort of, let's say we sort of dropped the bomb on 2007. And so like all the technology, if we're going for nostalgia, kind of all the technology and all the visuals is kind of around that time period, right? MP3 players, CDs, kind of junk stacked up in the cities, sort of like a kind of a little bit of a post-apocalyptic wasteland, just like all these, all this kind of 2007, early 2000s era tech laying around.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what, you get Josh Duhamel in his apartment, or, Shia, if you want to make him the cantankerous character, like, he's just in there with like his old like iPod trying to hook it up with a coaxial cable, like that kind of a world feel. Everything's just kind of like a little broken down. And then you can get what I've always wanted to see in a Bayverse movie. This might be my only complaint about Bayverse movies, is that all the cars are just like shining, beautiful, brand new. There's no real disguise going on there. Like, these are like brand new sports cars on the road. I want to see a little bit of rust, a little patina. I want to see some kind of old beaters. That's what I really want. And then in this sort of like world where, like, we're dealing with the aftermath of, maybe even Mission City. I'm thinking more the Battle of Chicago from Dark of the Moon. But just sort of this, like, we never quite recovered from this Decepticon Autobot war.
No, I think that's great. I think that would be fun also. Got some bangers in the chat here regarding Shockwave. Alpha Magnus, Shockwave doesn't know he is also long arm. He's schizophrenic. Tyler Durden Shockwave, which I think
like Cylon Shockwave.
Oh my God, there you go. Yeah, you add like an element of paranoia to it as well. And, I was talking about like, like plucky young characters and stuff. And I was really kind of trying to avoid like a Sorry Sumdac-esque character. But I do like the idea of a human character running around with like a Allspark fragment, like necklace type of thing. Maybe not utilizing it the same way that Sorry uses the Allspark key, but something to where it's like, I mean, I'm reminded of like one of the original taglines of Transformers 2007. It's like, well, there's this ancient Cybertronian war, and the power to turn the tide is in the hands of a teenager. And it's like, that'd be kind of cool if we kind of get into some of that a little bit.
And I think there's your quest, right? Like, we have to get this fragment of the Allspark that she has on her necklace, like, back to Optimus. Like, maybe he's still got like the matrix of leadership. It's missing this chunk. We need to just get these two pieces together. Like, that's kind of it's not even a MacGuffin really. It's just like the key in the keyhole. We got to get it together.
Something where we're combining objects.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be cool.
And you have it built in, right? It's like a leftover. It could even be that stupid fragment that's in Revenge of the Fallen that was left in Sam's sweater. I mean, bring that. I think there's room for two things here. I think there's sort of like a younger female character that's Sam's daughter, estranged from her father, that has the Allspark fragment that needs to get it back to Optimus. And then you have the little bit older character, which is Lennox's daughter. Maybe that's your fighter pilot, and just they're kind of teamed up. It's like a big sister, little sister type thing. Ooh. And then we're bringing in some of these legacy characters to like help them on this quest.
Yeah, I like the idea or the concept that the young characters are female. The future is female, and the legacy characters are all dudes. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it accidentally ends up that way, but that could be cool.
And I'm going to throw a bigger twist, and you're going to throw it right in the garbage. But I'm going to hit you with this: the daughter of Sam Witwicky is actually Michaela's daughter that she never even told him about. Really, that's why she's got the fragment, because Michaela still had it. But they're estranged, so it's like I never really knew my dad growing up. Even the war itself could have sort of like divided them, so they never really got to meet him. She's just living in his shadow. Yeah, and then like team her up with Lennox's daughter.
Even better. Oh, that's great. No garbage bin for that. That's good. Brilliant. Oh, keep going.
So this is where I got it. So Megan Fox, like mom character, is like, maybe she's dying. Maybe she got hit by a rogue shell, or maybe cancer. I don't know, whatever you want to do it. But she's like, you're going to have to go, we're not going to send you to find your dad, but I want to send you. I knew this guy during the battle for Mission City, Lennox. We trusted him. Go find Lennox, and ends up finding the daughter instead, because maybe Lennox isn't around or just not in the game anymore.
Yeah.
That's all right there.
Oh, that's good.
I
That's
like it.
good.
I got chills. That's working.
Yeah,
That's
see,
working for me.
and this is what I was hoping for. Apologies for us taking 2.5 hours to get there, but this is the juice. This is what I was looking for, and we're getting great stuff in the chat as well. Maddie B, here's an idea: go the route of James Cameron Dark Angel TV
Ooh,
series and make the Decepticons set off some EMP in a scheme that wipes out all technology. That's great, also. So
yeah.
instead of having like hyper tech, like I had speculated, go the other direction, like a 28 years later situation where you've got no tech. You know, you got
Right.
like bows and arrows and shit or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and okay, so do you remember this brings a concept back. Do you remember that show Joss Whedon did, Dollhouse?
Yes.
And there was like the episode that didn't get aired, the epitaph, where it was like exploring the technology that was created for this show, where it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you couldn't turn a radio on, you couldn't get close to like a television set or something because you could have your memory like reprogrammed just by getting close to technology. So as they're kind of crossing this sort of wasteland, they're worried about technology. They don't know what's a Decepticon and what isn't anymore, right? And this is where you get your like, oh shit, we're walking past an old car. Is it going to pop up and turn into something? Right. Or like,
Right.
is this old tractor going to become something? Like, that's what I always really wanted out of the Transformer movies, was like this, who's what's what, like, is this a robot or isn't it? We don't know for sure. And right away in the second movie, they kind of invented like technology to be like, okay, yep, that's a Transformer. I can see it from here. And kind of blew that out of the water. I want to be like scared, like what is going to stand up all of a sudden?
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me a bit of the old concept of robots in disguise, which is a trope I'm a huge fan of. You know, it's like I want to see more of that. Um Alpha Magnus has got another banger in here. We talked about this in two mics. That sounds a lot like the Fast and Furious styled Transformer show I was working on decades ago. And EMP takes out the Autobots and Decepticons' ability to transform, so some are stuck as bots and others in alt mode. And
Ah,
that was a cost effective way of doing a Transformers TV show where basically you've got Transformers, but they're stuck in car mode, so it's a car show. You know,
yeah, we got
that
a little Kid from Knight Rider situation.
Yes, very
Yeah,
much so. The idea would be to save money and allow a TV show, LOL.
yeah,
So,
I'm for it.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, that's basically all I got. Like, I've just got like some, you know, again, all the legacy people have stuff to do. You know, Maggie has something to do. Anthony Anderson gets something to do. Annie Lennox and Epps and all that. Maybe G.I. Joe is there. Now the thing that
And I'm gonna go back and one further and kind of rehash one of your old ideas. If time has passed and we're in this kind of wasteland, put Maggie in the wheelchair and make her Chip.
oh fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Because I remember when we did that show with the APDC guys, I said, I'm like, why isn't this lady Chip Chase?
yeah,
I remember I said
and
that.
she
And
can be.
yeah,
Maybe that's her hacker name, or like her free
yeah,
radio station name or something, right? Like,
sure.
yeah, that's all.
Oh,
That
that'd
could
be
all be
kind
there.
so maybe like Chip Chase is a screen name that you're dealing with throughout the entire movie, and oops, secret third act reveal turns out it was Maggie the whole time.
Yes, yeah. And she's locked in her old abandoned radio station, kind of
Yeah,
holding down the fort, wheelchair bound.
yeah.
Yeah, it's all there.
Or 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 she's Circuit Breaker from the Marvel comics, where she's got like a robot bikini
Okay, or
for the
that,
kids.
or
For the
both. I
kids.
don't know.
For the kids.
Yeah,
No, Circuit Breaker's an awesome character.
I'm gonna Google
Basically,
this
she's
in
like,
safe mode.
yeah, she's like, I hate robots. Also, I don't like wearing clothes.
What is this character from? I guess I'm unfamiliar.
She's from the Marvel comics, and basically she is working at a oil refinery with GB BlackRock, the Tony Stark of the Marvel Transformers, and basically she's paralyzed when Shockwave attacks their facility,
Oh,
and
okay.
she is a some kind of technological genius and creates essentially a mantis style harness for her to be mobile in.
Sure.
But because it's Marvel Comics and Bob Budiansky in 1984, instead of being like a clunky robot suit, it's a slinky bathing suit, basically.
Right.
It is a bikini. Have you found it yet?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and
Okay.
I think there's some like room to sort of kind of play off that, or at least play homage to it. But
Yeah.
I think I still like the fully closed wheelchair version of Maggie better. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure Transfer or Shockwave could be like the cause of Maggie's condition.
Yeah, I really want to use Shockwave in this for some reason because, like, I mean, dude got done dirty in that Revenge of the Fallen, and I felt like he never really got his chance to be
Darker
used.
than the Moon, but yes.
What did I say?
Revenge of the Fallen.
Jesus Christ!
How dare you, Mike?
I know, right? It's like, wow, wow, my mistake. Of course, apologies.
Oh, because and just to kind of play off that again, Maggie's character in that show is Maggie Madsen. So like having her screen name be Chip Chase would kind of be fitting.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Anthony Anderson's name is Glenn, by the way.
Yes, Glenn. Okay. Glenn,
Yeah.
you freak.
There it is. Yeah. And it's taken me 2 hours and 45 minutes to piece that one together because I'm like, what is that guy's name? But yeah, no, so let's as we get ready to wrap up, because I mean, again, we can we can vibe on this forever, but if we go for too much longer, it will no longer be the 3rd of July and it will be officially the 4th. Oh, actually, it's coming up in 4 minutes.
4 minutes, it'll be the 4th.
Oh no. And then the release date will have matched up with the poster. Oh, release date, by the way. That's so you do this again. You do like I don't know what date the 4th of July falls on in 2027, but you do the same thing. Oh, there it is.
My mouse pad, actual mouse pad I use for work.
I love it. That's pretty great. Alpha Magnus put in, if she could rip a floppy disk in half, she's 100% a robot.
Not touching that one.
Yeah, nope.
HR's listening.
Yeah, exactly. But release date. That's what it was. I was gonna say it's okay. Yes, friends, I know. Sorry, I'm on the West Coast. Matthew Barbaria, it's already the 4th for me! LOL.
Fireworks, Matthew.
It already is here. Yes, I know. I still got 2 hours. It's fine. It's fine.
Should we do a countdown when we get to 10 seconds?
I ironically enough don't have a clock with a second hand in here, so I am incapable of doing the countdown.
Sure.
I mean, if you got one and wanna lead us in that I would defer to your wisdom there. So I have 2 other things to unpack while we're here, and we'll see if we can get through these and get you on your merry way. We had an on-ramp to it earlier, but we missed the exit, and so now we're taking the next exit. What do we do with Michaela? And because you have a Megan Fox problem. Now, is it because it's 20 years later? Is that bad blood still there? Can Megan Fox come back? Should Megan Fox come back? Because it would be like, I love all of your solutions earlier, but it would also be kind of sad. Oh, but then again, where we're doing glum as fucking everybody's a sad sack.
Yeah.
Maybe she did die in the off season.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
You could do it without her.
You could do it without her.
I don't want that. I love Megan Fox, but you could do it without.
Well, but here's also the thing. And this is where I was running into how much time has passed or has the right amount of time passed. Like, Josh Duhamel is like a certified silver fox at this point. And he looks like you can put him in a legacy sequel. Tyrese, that man don't age. Like, I mean, like he looks like he's in Too Fast, Too Furious today. That kind of thing. Shia LaBeouf, I don't even know what that dude looks like anymore. He's not famous anymore, running around with a bag on his head. I don't even know what he looks like. But I know what Megan Fox looks like now. and that's a harder thing to reconcile because of like whatever she's done, for lack of a better term. I don't know if that fits in the confines of what we're doing here. I even thought as I was driving, because she's she's in the Expendables, for Christ's sake. She's been doing like
no way.
straight to she's Jason Statham's on and off girlfriend in that. She's terrible. Can't act.
That's really funny that she's Jason Statham's girlfriend in that, when you consider the person that replaced her in Dark of the Moon was actually Jason Statham's girlfriend. That's pretty great.
I did that just for you. But yeah, no, it's so you, in my opinion, you have a bit of a Megan Fox problem. And because like she's done like a lot of like action stuff, like a lot of straight to Netflix stuff, a lot of like, straight to DVD stuff, a lot of like, pseudo military stuff. I even, as I was driving in today, I'm like, is she in G.I. Joe? Is Michaela Baines in G.I. Joe? I'm like, I don't know if I like that, but I don't know that I hate that. But I ran into like, well, what do you do with this character? Because one of the things that came up from our conversation with Ryan Jett, APDC, few years ago, is like, we really recontextualized and retook the Megan Fox character, the Michaela character, because like she should be the lead of that movie. It shouldn't be Shia LaBeouf. It's like she's far more capable. She's way smarter. So yeah, I would like to see her return and get more of a fair shake than she got. Yeah. But unfortunately, at a time where I'm advocating for a return to Michael Bay sensibilities, Megan Fox still looks like Megan Fox.
Right.
So you can do that scene with Bumblebee again. And Transformers 2027 could be brought to you by Tummy. And and so you can do that. Like all of the things that were problematic the first time around, you can still do those things and they could be equally problematic. I don't know if it's a trade-off, right? I mean, it's a monkey's paw thing. You can't say that you want Michael Bay sensibility without the uncomfortable stereotypes or maybe like the overt sexualization. At a time where this movie is for 33-year-olds who were 13 when Transformers 2007 came out, you got to give them something. I mean, you don't got to, but I'm just saying, like, for the purpose of this premise and this exercise, I'm like, for example, the two female leads that we're talking about, Shia LaBeouf's daughter and Annie Lennox's daughter, they're probably going to be pretty attractive.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but does that mean that they are to be objectified and sexualized? I wouldn't want that, but this movie isn't for me. So I don't know. And I kind of want to get off of this path because it leads to nowhere but ruin. Right. But that's the Michael Bay problem, unfortunately.
Sure. Well, I mean, I don't think you have to stick so closely to all the problematic things, from the era of movies. Like, you can hit some of the bigger brush strokes without being like, well, every woman's got to be in a crop top and mini skirt. I think we can work around that a little bit. But I also think along with that, with Megan Fox, looking like Megan Fox, let's subvert expectations. Let's make her in kind of like an unsexy character in this, right? Like, yeah. She's wearing just like, baggy fatigues, she gets her kind of like start of what is the Terminator movie that McG did?
Oh, Salvation.
Yeah, let's just give her kind of a dirty start to that, and then the bomb goes off, and then she's
Oh
gone,
yeah, yeah.
right? Like let's get something like that.
Sure.
But yeah, but that I mean, even that kind of world kind of what works for me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Um so let's see what do you got here in the chat. Michael Andrews, please chat indulge me hashtag team Carly or hashtag team Michaela.
Did anybody indulge me?
Maddie B, I hated Carly, so hashtag team Michaela. Oh man, this is not going your way. Alpha Magnus, as long as Shia says no a bunch of times really fast, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, and he posted earlier, Shia looks like a cross between Alan Moore and Orson Welles. Holy mackerel, I did not know that. So maybe this is going to work where he's like, disheveled and sad sack. That's going to work perfectly then.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a little bit buff now too. Kind of if anybody's seen Peanut Butter Falcon out there, that kind of Shia would be perfect for this.
It's a great movie, by the way.
I love it.
Very underrated. Very underrated. A poorly titled movie.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. But yeah, correct.
Of course you do.
For selling tickets. I mean, yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Hashtag Team Charlie for Alpha Magnus.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. All right.
Well, because
that's not what I asked for sure.
Well, let me. Yeah, exactly. Where it's like,
I expect to know less from Alpha Magnus than not the answer or not the question that I asked, but yeah.
Well, let me go back at least 40 minutes ago. Just use Haley Steinfeld, and I'm not going to say that emoji out loud.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's hot. It's a hot day in Cleveland, I guess. Hot in Cleveland. Right. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about the robots. It's like what in my treatment, I have no idea who the hell is in here because I've said something like Maddie B backed me up and said like, yeah, you partner with GM and you do a new Camaro. I've also said like you do like whatever their new hot sexy EV is. Michael Andrews, you said, Michael Bay's strength is like partnering with these companies and doing concept cars. So I think you've already got like a couple few things there, but like, are there any particular characters that you would like to see given a live action treatment that maybe haven't?
Human or otherwise?
Oh, well, I guess we could. Yeah, well, let's do human or
robot. What's your original impetus?
I was thinking robots because, like,
okay,
we seem like we've got a pretty stacked cast.
I talked about the humans a lot. To be
fair. We got a lot of humans in there there. But while you're there, it's like, so you brought it up. Are there any particular humans that you would like to see? Like, do you want to see riffs on other legacy characters, or are there other new characters that you want to see? Do you need a dopey boy? Or do you need like the return of like snug t-shirt guy or whatever that guy's deal was? Like, right. You know who I'm talking about? Because
the tighter shirt we checked guy.
Tighter shirt we checked guy. That guy. Like, does he get a character poster also just like Knife Guy? Does he end up like, being integral to the third act of the movie where it turns out there was more to him than meets the eye or whatever?
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I'll say a couple things. I don't know if this is like exactly where we're going, but I don't have a lot of like, love or knowledge of the G1 show. So there's nothing I can pick from there, but like, I would love to see, maybe it's just coming off the project we did, but I'd love to see like Sari get at least like a name drop, some kind of Sari in there.
Yeah.
That could be Michaela's daughter.
Sure.
And I think I'd also like to see from the movie, I think I'd like to see maybe Alice, the pretender, the Decepticon pretender from Revenge of the Fallen. Like,
sure.
Like sort of like she's sort of like the liquid metal kind of like poisoned by being a human for a short time. Like she's kind of coming around to the idea of being human or like trying to figure out what that means to be human. I think there's some room there to have sort of like this techno-organic character.
I love that. I love that.
Maybe she could be sorry. I mean, maybe that's the name she could take, and it could be an acronym for something, and we could tie it into like the cybernetic human aspect.
Sure. I can hang with that, and I can hang with that for another reason also. I kind of want to have some name reuse characters that specifically piss me off.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's like, that's not who that's just a name you plucked out of a hat. Or you do it like wrong. And I'm like, I don't like that.
That's a classic Bayverse throwback right there.
There it is.
There's nostalgia in that.
And that's what I mean. It's like, if we're going down this route, you have to take it. Unfortunately, it's like if you get the spectacle, you also get the stuff that you don't want. Let's go back to the chat for a sec here. Alpha Magnus, you're a peanut butter falcon. Also, she's a vampire, which I've gone so far I've forgotten who that was.
Haley Steinfeld. That's how she could still. I think that's how Charlie could look the same as she always did, because she's a vampire from Sinners, which I haven't seen yet. Thanks a lot, Alpha Magnus.
Yeah. It's on the poster. Oh no, is that a spoiler? Did you not know? She says
I guess I could have inferred.
She says in the trailer with blood dripping out of her face, "Oh, we're gonna kill you all." That movie fucking rocks. That is my favorite movie of the year, by the way. Go see Sinners.
I think it comes. Kate's been telling me it comes streaming like today or like July 4th
on Max. Yeah.
So I think we're planning to watch Max, that.
Clear your calendar and watch it
for sure.
Because holy shit. I think about that movie most every day, because like it is transcendent.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's great. High praise. Alpha Magnus, isn't this the storyline from Jean-Claude Van Damme's Cyborg? LOL. Yes.
Only you and him would know.
Yeah, Maddie B, my sister is watching this with me, and she wants to see Cade Yeager return. Well, I'm glad you don't, brother, because a lot of people do. No, it's the other way around. I've had enough of Marky Mark Wahlberg and his dumb family and all of it. I don't want any of it.
I want him back. I want to see a Transformer.
So what is he, old man Cade now?
Everyone's old man everything. Old man and old woman, old them, all of it.
So the daughter's boyfriend doesn't need the card anymore because now they're old.
That's right.
It's like, I thought she was Baby Spice. Now she's just Old Spice. Oh no.
That guy, Lucky Charms, is out of the movie. He left her for a younger woman because he wanted to use the card.
Oh, still valid. Yeah.
He's like, it hasn't expired yet.
Yeah. And then suddenly like TJ Miller finds a way to like Han and Carbonite like unearth himself from like, lockdowns like Cobalt Bomb or whatever the hell that is. And he's like, still in the movie. I'm old too.
Right. He's sort of like what's the all metal character from like Deadpool?
Colossus.
Yeah, he's just walking around like Colossus. He's just got the metallic built into him.
But then he's like actual sex pest TJ Miller. Yeah. Wonderful. I love it. This is going off the rails in a hurry. Alpha Magnus, I want Wahlberg and Shia to fist fight. That would be great. Alpha Magnus, I haven't seen it. LMAO. For some reason, TJ Miller is alive.
Somehow TJ Miller has returned.
Oh my gosh. So like and it's taken me all night to find this tweet. And I don't think it's the right one, but I think I've seen this a number of times. I'm not going to do a screen share on that because it's got bad words in it in their username. But like basically like the Hollywood Handle was like the one that I saw circulating the most with the news breaking. Michael Bay will return to direct a new Transformers movie at Paramount and gives credit to that Matt Belloni character in his Puck article. But anyway, I've seen this a couple different versions where folks will say in bullet points: war in the Middle East, Republican president, new Linkin Park album, Michael Bay directing Transformers.
Yeah.
Economy's going back downhill. Welcome back to 2007.
Yeah, we're there.
So there you go. That's
we're there in a much less charming way somehow.
Yes, but that's the funny thing about nostalgia is like it comes back around again, and it is, I don't know, it's we talked a lot in Two Mikes Too Furious about the writing being influenced by the George W. Bush era, and it is kind of interesting how things come back around again, where Transformers was a product of that time. So in a way, it almost makes sense that this, legacy reboot, whatever we want to call it, Michael Bay returning to Transformers is also influenced by capital T, the Times trademark.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, I mean, that's real fucking dour, but also kind of weirdly appropriate. But like, so for me also, to make it less dour, do you engage with the new Linkin Park stuff, Michael Andrews?
I haven't actually. I'm not actively avoiding it, but I just haven't yet.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I like it. And I think that was another thing that kind of sparked some of this interest in me. It's like, well, Linkin Park is making new music. And so like I could see them writing new material for this movie.
Yeah.
And maybe even lean more into it, because the thing that people will forget is that there's other songs on those soundtracks. I mean, like you'll never hear 21 Guns from Green Day the same way ever again after watching Revenge of the Fallen.
Right.
Or I hope it's Revenge of the Fallen. Maybe it's Dark.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think I'm right, but because that ends up being kind of like Michaela's theme because like anytime
Dark of the Moon now.
No, I think it's Revenge of the Fallen, because I think it's a very Michaela song, if I remember correctly. All of this was for a dumb throwaway joke. All I'm saying is instead of doing that, you go all in on the musical texture of the Jablonski score and songs by Linkin Park. Both new ones and old ones. That would be fine. And I feel like it should end with What I've Done, except this time sung by Emily Armstrong. And like
just
like
a
in
little
the video,
slower, a little more touching.
Yeah.
Me like you.
Yeah. And so I'll kind of advocate for the new Linkin Park stuff a little bit. I think like it's different. She definitely has a different delivery than Chester, but that's good and that's right because it makes it different. Yeah. She's not a sound-alike, but the thing that you might not hear in every version of the songs that she's done, she can get there also, where it's like, very like intense and screechy and, very, very Chester-like scales and runs and things like that. It's some fun stuff, but like, I'll see if I can find the video and maybe post it in the show notes. But like when they announced that Linkin Park was starting again, they did like basically like a live performance in, I don't know, like Brazil or something like that. And they brought Emily Armstrong up and they basically ran through their greatest hits essentially. So cool. So it's a really good sampling. And I think they did a couple songs off the new record, The Emptiness Machine. And it's like, by the time you get to the new stuff, you're used to it. And it's like, oh, but like in particular, What I've Done is really cool because like she takes it in a more melodic direction, but when she hits it, it's still undeniably Linkin Park for sure. So that's just a weird plug for Linkin Park. And that was part of the reason why I was thinking about this. It's like at a time where, see, now I know we've been on for so long because now I'm repeating things I'm saying. And it's like, at a time where Linkin Park is making new music, the return of Michael Bay was already foretold.
Yeah. Yeah, so, absolutely.
So that's where
quickly to go back to what you were asking about, like now what Transformers characters.
Oh
would you
shit,
like
I
to see
forgot about that.
Yeah, I thought maybe
I
you
thought
lost
we
that
were
thread.
almost done. Oh no.
But I do want to bring this up quickly because I've
Okay.
just been jotting notes that got my wheels turning.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, like, if we're talking Bayverse, I'd like to see Jolt come back.
Yep.
As like a strong silent type, and maybe he takes more the Bumblebee role where he's like the escort. He's like the new medic, and he's just kind of like a fill-in medic, not a real Ratchet. Just because he can do some of the stuff that Ratchet can do. Have him along for the ride. He doesn't talk much. I'd love to see Sideswipe back in some capacity, like the wheelie feet, heels on wheels, kind of Sideswipe. I love that design. I love that character. Brand new character.
You know what? I kind of do too.
Thank you. Yeah, it's cool.
He's cool. Wheels on heels is cool.
Yeah, brand new character. I'd like to see a Bayverse take on Brawn. Maybe he'd be a little bit like Movie Hound, but less warlike. But he has kind of like little man syndrome, like just kind of a little guy.
Yeah, he's a stubby little grump.
Yeah.
Like a dirt boss, like dude. He's like,
yes, I think that'd be great, and that would keep him like on the level with kind of some smaller characters in this movie.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool to see.
Real chip on his shoulder. That'd be fun.
Yeah, so that's kind of my team. That's who I want the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion to be of this Wizard of Oz tale, is Jolt, Brawn, and Sideswipe.
I like all of that. Let me add a couple of mine. I'm not nearly as creative as yours. I also had like a return of Jolt. And I was gonna say that this could kind of be your EV type of thing. That kind of thing. But also you bring in a Rodimus, voiced by Judd Nelson, who can be kind of a foil for Optimus a little bit. You know, I don't know. I don't know how young and impetuous you make him, and I don't know how that fits. This might not be the movie for that. But like at a time where we're doing like legacy stuff, well, shit, let's who else do we got that we can do legacy voice actors from? And you stay away from the Hot Rod stuff where it's like, last night Hot Rod can still stop the time because he's a different dude. He's a different dude.
Sure.
And then that way nobody's unhappy. That kind of thing. But I would like to see this is a lift directly from Skybound, but I want to see RC, but instead of a motorcycle that gets unceremoniously murdered, she's a Lamborghini like she is in Skybound.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I can get behind that for sure.
Yeah. Oh, Maddie B's got my back here. Bring in Hot Rod, voiced by Cybertronic Spree Hot Rod. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Delightfully Canadian. That would be a lot of fun. Alpha Magnus, we need Bayverse Lugnut and Beast Wars Inferno.
I'm with you on Lugnut. For sure, that's a great Decepticon heavy to have kind of as a fighter. Beast Wars Inferno. How are we bringing that into the story? I want you to elaborate in the chat. How do we get there?
Well, the beasts have risen.
I get. Well, have they? I mean, are we tying it back to that? Is that part of your continuity?
I don't know. Well, my continuity was delightfully streamlined. Nothing after 2007. You brought in this Ghostbusters Afterlife bullshit. So now everything counts. Because I even said you bring in Michael Kelly from Rise of the Beast for the G.I. Joe connection. I don't know. I don't know if the beasts have risen or not. But then again, it doesn't matter because it's all bullshit Swiss cheese continuity anyway. Because that's the other thing. All of the Michael Bay movies contradict each other anyway.
Yeah, that's true. I was just thinking about that today. Like, I think one of the issues with Rise of the Beasts was that they didn't do that kind of like time traveling justice that Beast Wars needs. Like they have that, they have that throwaway line where they're like, I can't remember. It's kind of dumb. It's like, we're both from your past and your present and your future and 4-dimensional chess and all this stuff. Yeah. Like it's just a one line. It's just too much.
Line.
It's just like, we're from your future and your past. Never mind. We're moving on.
Yeah.
Like, that bugs me. And I think that movie missed a big moment to be like, start the movie with them in the future being like, we have to go back to the past, and then
Ooh.
purposefully kind of going back in time and maybe missing their mark and kind of
They
landing
go
in the
all the way
early
back.
90s. Yeah. Something like that.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Alpha Magnus elaborates. He doesn't have to be a beast. He's essentially a Bayverse character anyways, LOL.
Okay. But then please indulge me more in the chat. What is his alt mode?
Ooh.
You
Well,
let's put it on you.
Like a I don't know, like a fire truck or something like that.
Sure.
Like like he becomes G1 Inferno, but he's like Beast Wars Inferno. I don't know. He's an evil fire truck, much like Barricade is an evil cop car, that kind of thing. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
bring back Barricade while you're at it.
Yeah, but yeah, why not?
Right.
I like that. Okay, so that's all I got for Autobots. I had way more fun with Decepticons, and I've got way too many. I've got way too many. First of all, I gladly co-signed the Lugnut idea, because basically Lugnut can kind of take on the Blackout type of role. Your big bruiser, maybe like your Blackout scene as a mirror to 2007. The first Transformer we see on screen is Lugnut. In like that size and that scale. That's what that that's what that would deserve. But like, I just kind of went nuts with like, dream casting. I was like, yeah, I don't know, give me a Blitzwing. Give me a fucking triple changer. Why not?
Oh yeah.
Give me a Cyclonus. Give me, more or less like somebody who's like, I don't know, he could be like all versions of Cyclonus at the same time. Maybe like the animated version that didn't have any lines, but still is like Cyclonus with a sword. I just want to see Cyclonus with a sword, I guess.
Yeah, Cyclonus with a sword would be awesome.
But again, this is where you start rolling your eyes, because it's like, dude, you can't have everyone from Team Char.
I was just gonna say this is,
because I'm just gonna start naming them off. Give me fucking Striker, dude.
Yeah,
come on.
Okay, yeah. That would
be cool. a thick Soviet bruiser.
Oh,
I mean,
someone should show Michael Bay like clips of that character, and he'd be like back on board. He'd be like, all right, I'm gonna pick out the tank. I love the voice. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Oh,
make
yeah.
her sexy, missile boobs, the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and she's like literally like an old Russian tank.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be wicked. I just landed on that. Because again, recency bias. Since we're bringing in Beast Wars Inferno, you bring in a Black Arachnia. Give me a femme fatale. And I don't know what version she is. Maybe she skews more arachnid than Black Arachnia, but like I'd like to have like a slinky, sexy femme fatale type of thing. Somebody who can put the moves on your boy Jolt or something like that. To try to get like some access codes or something like that. Or even Bumblebee, he's like, a little homina or something like that.
And maybe her sting is like actually like an interface for like stealing computer information, but like she just rams it into Jolt and like
zap zap.
That weaponizes it. I like that
kind of thing. Yeah, that kind of thing. I think that would be fine. And then we my team is already overpowered, but like I'd kind of like to see Overlord.
Oh my god.
You give me a tank and a jet.
Yeah.
And at a time where we're kind of doing like the Bayverse aesthetic, what does that face look like? You give me them dick sucking lips. Come on, man. I mean, like, and no, because now, okay, this has gone on too long. It's too much. Michael Andrews. We got to stop. Because then you throw in a pipes on the Autobot side, just so that we can. This is all just pandering to my dude Anthony Bricali, freaking, because like he will never miss an opportunity to share that panel. Like his middle name is Scrunch. for Christ. Man is sick.
Right.
Needs help. Let's see. What do we got here? Let me go back to the chat here, because this is getting real bad real quick. Yep, it was a non-screen used concept. Alpha Magnus. I just want Inferno to have a big flying ass.
And there we go. That's what I was getting. I think that's what you really want out of this Inferno. We have to find a vehicle that works for that.
Like maybe like some kind of like bulbous helicopter or something. I don't. Well, that's not necessarily
and everyone's expecting like the propellers to be the ass, but then it turns out it's like the nose cone of the helicopter splits.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like,
and then like the legs are the helicopter blades. There's something there.
Yeah, Maddie B, live action Retgar, but do you go G1 or animated?
I love a garbage truck transformer. I've been to town on this a lot, and I especially like it. Yeah, bring back the you can actually use that concept, or they had that character in the Bayverse movies that didn't get a lot of screen time. That was the garbage truck. Just can give that a reskin.
Well, here's what you do is you split the difference in that garbage truck, yes, but also a thing that we workshop during the Retgar episode on TFA is he speaks in meme speak. All like fucking like Gen Z skibbity toilet nonsense, that kind of thing. And it's like it's all like incomprehensible. Because it's all just like meme speak. Yeah. I'm not necessarily gamer speak. He's not headmaster, right. but yeah, there's. I'm trying to figure out what the difference is, but because like ironically enough, in Gen Z slang, there's a lot of like gamer that spills over.
Sure, but like the touch grass, that sort of thing. Like that in there,
yeah, real tropey, very very stereotypy. Right. So instead of being like Mad Max, he's like I don't know what an example of like a Gen Z garbage person would be, but yeah, maybe that's the direction you go.
Sure.
Because he's only good for one thing, garbage.
Yeah.
Then Alpha Magnus, the most unfortunate comment of the night. Just don't let Michael Bay find out about KISS players. I would argue he kind of does. You go. Oh, Michael Andrews is already. He's like, I can't handle this no more.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah. Well, okay. So then I'll skip over the part about like how the end of Transformers 2007 is technically kind of a three-way where young Sam is the meat. You gotta
this again.
Michaela is laying on top of him. Sam is leaned up against Bumblebee. And yeah, so Bumblebee is the other slice of bread there.
Yeah. Some of us didn't mind that maybe so much.
Oh my gosh. So, okay. I think we did it.
Yeah. We broke that wide open. We gave him the whole plot for free.
Well, I mean, we went pretty deep on that for something that, it was remarkably thin when I like started transcribing stuff. I thought I had more, but I don't. But this is already more than plenty.
It's fun.
So Michael Andrews, it is, I should have mentioned, we should have done this up top when I did my CybFest nonsense, but summer is here and folks might be interested in some summer reading. If only they had stuff to read this summer. What could people do if they want some summer reading?
Oh yeah. Please go to Amazon.com, the website that's very popular. Jeff Bezos, everyone loves him right now. Hottest guy. Please go to his website if you've heard of it. Amazon.com. Google Coming of Age by Mikel Andrews. 2-book duology. Heavy 80s influence, a little Transformers mentions in there, a lot of Star Wars references, wizards, that sort of thing. If you're into that at all, that's my books and I'm sticking to it.
Nice. Very, very cool. I will say one thing in regards to our other project, Two Mikes, Too Furious, and I already see that I've got the warm dot sniper rifle is trained. It's like, be careful, friend. We had this conversation. You are to be careful. Well, because before we started the show, I think it was in Facebook or something like that. I don't remember where it is, but anyway, my buddy Nick, who was commenting earlier, asked, what animated series are you going to cover next? Or what Transformer series are you going to cover next? And I told him, I was like, well, that implies that we're done with animated. And while we may be done with animated, maybe animated isn't done with us yet. And that's it. I will say nothing else.
I'm going to act like my screen is frozen here.
Yeah. Stay tuned or don't.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, that is all I will say. Friends,
just one more thing, actually.
Oh, sure. Yeah, please.
No, I'm just kidding. I was doing you, not saying anything more about
I
project.
No, I practiced. I rehearsed. I even wrote that down. It's like, no, this is the line that I'm going to say. Say the line, Bart.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, what are you guys going to? Well, while we're done with animated might not be done with us yet. Stay tuned. Don't unsubscribe to Two Mics Too Furious. How about that? We'll
animated rarely calls upon us at a time of our choosing.
There it is. Amazing. Well, buddy, thanks for hanging out. And happy 4th of July now. Now that we are half hour into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for having me. It was good to get out of the hammock. My back was getting a little sore from relaxing too hard. It's good to dust off the pipes here.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, friends, that is going to do it for us tonight. Now this morning. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And if you want more of this, first of all, come find me at CybFest Northwest coming up on July 12th at the Kent Commons Community Center. Now, 8 days from now, no longer 9 days.
Oh my gosh.
But that's coming up on July 12th, Kent Commons Community Center. It's going to be a lot of fun. Go to CybFestNW.com for all of the information on that. And as I said, that's going to wrap things up for this episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and for all of your great ideas and for being so lively in the chat. If you want more of me, check out Mike Seibert Radio. Be sure and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever the hell else you listen to podcasts. And if you want more Transformer shenanigans and more of this dynamic between Mike Seibert and Mikel Andrews, you might even say we're two mics. You might even say that we're too furious. Check out our other show, Two Mics Too Furious, Animated Transformers, where we reviewed past tense Transformers animated one episode at a time. That project is now complete for now. Go check it out. It's a lot of fun. Good for your commute.
Yes.
Like, share, rate, and review the show. Let us know what you'd like and what you'd like to hear more of in the future. For my guest, the Spark Soul brother, the sweaty teenager. It's a sweaty, filthy teenager. He's a child to my hot criminal in the training bra. My name is Mike Seibert. This has been Mike Seibert Radio. And until next time, till all are one, make good choices. And I'm going to take us out with the intro video that we started with, and then we'll sign off after that. Good night.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye. TM.
Yeah, there you go.
Give your money to
No, we're stealing all their stuff. Actually, that was the thing. We so those guys have come on our show so many times and shanghaied it. What we didn't know is that they were getting us back for that time that we did it back in 2022. Remember, it was poor Ryan Jett by himself, and then it's you and I tag teaming the poor guy talking about Transformers 2007.
That's right.
Just getting it from both sides.
And what a day! Well, I still love going back and listening to that. Whenever I need a little pick me up, us talking about that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I need to revisit it. Instead, I revisited the More Than Meets the Pod coverage of Transformers 2007. That's where the Annie Lennox stuff comes from. Like that is still like one of my very favorite things, and I missed their show very, very much. It was such a revelation. But anyway, go listen to all those shows. Have a happy and healthy 4th of July. Hope you keep all of your fingers and eat all kinds of like terrible foods, hot dogs and beers and hamburgers and whatnots. And we'll see you around the way. And until then, we will be waiting. We're here. We are here. We are waiting. Is that how it goes?
We are. Good night, everybody.
There it is. Mike Seibert Radio is recorded in Seattle, Washington. Our original theme song is written and performed by Lucia Fasano. Get her music on all streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music, and check out her Instagram at Lucia_Fasano. Our closing theme is A Nice Place to Visit by These Young Fools, used with permission from Michael Geissler. Check out Michael's website, bytourmusic.com, for more music like it. Special thanks to Andy Lita for our logos and graphic design. He is at GoGoAndyRobo. Become a Mike Cybertronian and join the MSRP Friends and Fans Facebook group. And you can follow me on social media at Mike Seibert Radio on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky. And check out my YouTube channel for even more videos, and subscribe so you never miss a show and don't miss Two Mikes, Two Furious animated Transformers. Want to be a guest on the show? Send me an email, MikeSeibertRadio@gmail.com.